Then I have to turn it back up.
Well, maybe you should get new headphones. Hey, everyone, welcome to
Fix audio
Respawn
mixing.
Aim Fire, a special side quest where we are going to chat about our impressions and reviews of the PlayStation 5. Woo! We have a lot of sexy boys here with us. You can see them all over the screen if you're watching us on twitch.tv/affableidiots right now, or if you're watching us delayed on youtube.com/ We have our usual Holden, same old DePardo. Say hey, Holden, so people know what your voice sounds like.
Hi, I'm Holden, same old Pardo.
We have the world's best virtual wedding photographer, Dallas Smith.
Wedding photographer. I don't think I shot any
said
weddings
you were gonna do our in-game wedding.
Whose?
I don't know.
Am I
Who's
missing
getting
something?
married?
Oh,
Matt got married.
okay.
Did you do
I
his?
agree, yes.
He paid you for it. Dallas, if you
Destiny wedding.
I'm not speaking to Dallas, but I'm speaking to the audience now. Dallas is the provider of not today's side quest, but all of our other episodes, the background content going forward. It's going to be screenshots provided by Dallas, by Mattel, and Parker Brothers. We've got Matt from the Average Nobodies
What's up, everybody? Yes,
and from
at
Vaulted
Average Nobodies.
Podcast.
What?
And from Vaulted Podcasts.
Yes, and from Vaulted Podcast. Check it out on Twitter. It's a recording space in Rhode Island. If you live near Rhode Island or you want to fly to Rhode Island, I will not pay for your plane ticket, but you can come there and record your podcast.
This is what
There it is.
Vaulted Podcast.
You look at Brent.
Brent,
that's what
coming
that's
in
what
from
it is.
Vaulted Podcast Studio
It's
right
just a
now.
brick wall with foam on it.
We've got
What's
Jeff
up?
and all of his fun friends in front of him here from the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast, as well as the Nerds at Large. Oh, do you just call it Nerds at Large Prime?
I always just call it Nerds at Large, yeah.
Nerds at Large. If you've listened to any of our content, you've probably heard Jeff's voice quite a few times. Jeff,
Yep, always a
what's
pleasure
your
to be
favorite
here.
little friend in front of you?
My favorite friend? Ooh.
It's Shantae, isn't it?
She hasn't been
Darby's
around
favorite.
enough. I'm very fond of Banjo because he's continuing his job of holding up Nintendo.
Even from Xbox Land, he's still
he
holding up
does.
Nintendo. And we have Brent from the Uncultured Opinions Podcast and Free to Play Podcast joining us from inside the computer.
He's in the CPU Plaza.
I'm Mr. Thanksgiving, and I'm also Mr. PlayStation. So, biggest PlayStation fan of this podcast. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad you needed my services.
That's a great transition. Before we get started talking about the PlayStation 5, and I promise we will, we have to lend some credence to our opinions by letting you know why our opinions matter. So I want to go around real quick and introduce people to your PlayStation history and how long you think you play PlayStation every month. Guesstimated number of hours, give or take 7. If you are outside of that range of 7, you get ejected from the podcast. Let's start. We're going to go in reverse. Brent, you call yourself Mr. PlayStation. Tell us about your history with it.
I'll try to keep it short. Ever since I was born, I think I had a PS1 in my hands playing like the original Spider-Man game. Eventually, I found my uncle's PS2, was playing that a lot. When PS3 came out, my mom and my stepdad like had that, and that's what they played religiously. But I was playing a Wii at the time, and then I got a 360 because I loved Minecraft. My friends were there. Upgraded to the Xbox One when that came out, but after a while, it just really wasn't feeling it. I went to PS4, loved it, was playing for a while. I got a PC. I switched to that for a little bit, but I got called back to the PS4. Like I couldn't stay away from that bad boy for long, and then now I'm on PS5.
Dope.
I'd say I play 155 hours of PS4 PlayStation every month.
Exclusively from midnight to 6 a.m. And exclusively Ghosts of Tsushima.
Dude, I played too much Ghost of Tsushima.
You love that game.
Best of
Jeff.
the year.
Jeff, we're moving on to you. Tell us about your PlayStation history.
All right. I never had a PS1. Great start right there.
Ooh.
Got a PS2 late in the life cycle of it. Played a bunch of games on that, mainly JRPGs. Got a PS3 a little late as well. Just did a lot of catching up on that as far as games did. Got PS4 relatively early. Played a lot of the big hits on that I'm sure most people here on the podcast and listening have played. And like got the PS5 day one, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my boy.
As far as average time, it's a little range from like 0 when I'm just playing a Switch game is my focus, or 100 hours when I'm sick and just stuck playing Persona 5 at home.
I like those numbers. Matt, go.
What's up? So I had a PS1, played the crap out of Ape Escape, Siphon Filter, Final Fantasy VII, but just a little bit of it. I had never really got through the majority of it, and a few other games I don't really remember. I don't really remember a lot from that generation. PS2 came around, and my buddy Tom had it, and I went over to his house when we were playing Grand Theft Auto 3, and he's like, "Oh man, look at this! You can do all this cool shit, pick up hookers." I'm like, "I'm in." So I was like, I'm getting a PS2. So I got a PS2, played that. My PS3 was an Uncharted and Black Ops machine. That was the only things I played on PS3, but played a ton of it, and I loved my fat PS3. The original PS3 was so cool. I could still play my PS2 and PS1 games. It was awesome. I used to load in pictures from my digital camera because that was a thing at the time when the PS3 was a thing. That was awesome. It had the whole I read every different kind of card in the front.
Yeah, I forgot it had a SD card and a CF card on the front.
Yeah, it was so unique, and I just loved the size and shape of it. It was so cool, and I think I played a few wrestling games on that as well. And then I got PS4 at launch. Didn't really play many games when PS4 first launched. I kind of the later half, the last probably 3 years is when I really got into PS4 and really dug in. And here I am today. I probably play PlayStation maybe, this is probably underestimating a little bit, maybe 35 hours a month. I'm thinking an hour a day, plus a little more. Yeah, I know. Dallas is looking at me weird, but I'm trying to think because there's some days where I don't touch it at all, so I'm trying to find that sweet spot. I'll say
there was a stretch of a few weeks last month where we played 4 hours of Destiny a night every night.
Yes, right. Yeah, there's anomalies like that as well too.
Although I think we did that more when he was on his honeymoon, Chad.
That's right. Because we were
While
trying
he
to
was
power
on his
you up.
honeymoon, we played almost every night for 4 hours.
But then there's also the times where we were doing the raid earlier this year, and that was
and we played
just
for 12 hours straight.
I mean, that was just yeah. So
Yeah.
all over the place.
That other voice you hear is Dallas.
Yeah, so I had a PS1. I remember playing Resident Evil without a memory card. I rented it from Major Video.
Yes.
And, my best friend and I sat down and we played that thing, and we got all the way to the part where you fight the snake and died. And didn't realize that there was no thing is it doesn't save on the system. I'm used to playing Nintendo 64. You don't need a memory card for that thing. And that was a culture shock for me. So I stayed away from buying that game because I didn't want to have to buy a memory card. I was against it. But that was my first real memory with the PlayStation 1. I bought a PlayStation 2 at launch. Luckily, I just walked into a FYE at the
Emerald Square.
Mall. Yeah, Emerald Square.
Yeah.
And I just happened to walk out with a PlayStation 2. I'm pretty sure they were hard to find. I don't really remember, but PlayStation 3 I skipped until late in the generation. I was more of a 360 kid at that point. I was a kid, I think. I was probably a young adult. Anyways, but I picked it up to play The Last of Us. And that blew me away. It was one of the best games I ever played in my life. So I made sure I got a PlayStation 4 at launch so I could play it again when they released the remaster of that game. And since the release of the PS4, I haven't touched my Xbox. I bought an Xbox One X when it launched, but I hardly play it. So I've been putting in, probably 100 to 200 hours a month at least on that bad boy, and I love it. It's like my third child. It gets a lot of my nighttime hours. So.
I love it. I didn't join the PlayStation wagon. I can't remember whether it was the PSP that I got first or whether it was the PS1 with the LCD screen that I got first.
Yes.
But one of those was my first one. But it was way after the PS2 had already been out for a little bit that I got the PS1. But my actual console that I remember actually putting a lot of time into was the PS3. I was an Xbox boy and an N64 boy before that. But the PS3, they announced that they were creating a redesign of it that would stop the ability for you to play backwards compatible PS2 games. And I remember coming downstairs telling my parents, man, they just announced this PS3 redesign and they're not going to be able to play PS2 games anymore on it. And my mom looks at me and goes, sounds like we have to go get you the PS3 right now.
Nice.
All right, cool. So we went and got a PS3 and got the Metal Gear Solid 4 edition, booted up Uncharted, and I was like, I'm glued to this for the rest of my life. So ever since then, I've always been a PlayStation person. I had a friend's 360 for a couple of years. I had an Xbox One S. I have a Series X, but those get very little use, and I put easily 100, 150 hours a month into those PlayStation consoles.
I play with you guys a lot, so I think I severely underestimated my numbers.
You're at least at 80.
Dallas is saying 100, 200, Chad's saying 150, and I'm like, yeah,
about,
40,
I was trying
40.
to average maybe I play like 5 hours a night, and it's at least 6 weeks out of the
Maybe it's just
6
my
days
brain.
out.
At least 6 weeks a month.
Yeah,
maybe it's just my brain blocking.
6 days a week at 5 hours a night.
Yeah,
That adds up, man.
yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I calculated like 5 hours times like 31 days.
There you go. Smart.
Holden, you're up.
I plead the fifth. No one wants to hear what I have to say because I'm
Does
not a
not play
PlayStation person. Yeah, I'm more of a Nintendo
How many
fan,
hours
just
did
to
you
kind
put
of put
into
it
Animal
there.
Crossing this week?
This week? I don't know this week. Actually, none this week.
Good.
But
that
this
means you were
year,
playing your PS5.
I was playing my PS5 a lot, yeah. No, Animal Crossing like over 200 hours this year, though, which is like, yeah, a lot. So I'm more of a Nintendo person. But I appreciate PlayStation. I enjoy PlayStation. I think they make good games. And I played a lot of PlayStation this week. But I don't know if I could put a time frame on how many hours I even spend just playing video games each week. I have no idea.
Holden, you say you're a Nintendo person, but Sekiro's not on the Switch.
It's not, no.
It could be on
That's
there.
okay.
with
One day
the
there will be a cloud
soon.
version, and then he'll
Oh, God. The cloud version of that
then he'll
game
come
is
around
such
to
a
cloud
waste.
versions.
You have to get another non-existent platinum.
So is the PS4 your first PlayStation, or did you have others?
So, all right, my story there is, as a kid, I always did handhelds. I didn't really have, I had GameCube, but I didn't have a lot of games for it. But I did more handheld stuff, so I go back and forth between DS and PSP. And I was always going back and forth and trading in my DS to get a PSP at GameStop or vice versa. I was doing that all the time. I never just kept one and then bought the other one.
Your friendship with Gus makes so much more sense.
And yeah, and then eventually, in 2016, I got my first PlayStation home console, which was PS4. So it's kind of late to the game on that. I also got Last of Us Remastered for my first game on that, though, because I always really, really wanted to play that game. And yeah, I mean, I got hooked just because the games are so good. And now I got a PS5 at launch, so hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
Oh, damn.
first
Speaking of
PS
PS5,
I was gonna say
just
my
said
first
something.
PS4 game was Uncharted 4 because it came in the box. And then the first one I bought was Overwatch.
I remember on PS3, we're going to get to PS5 in a second, I promise. I remember on PS3, when I first got it out of the box, my friend Tim and I were sitting in front of the TV on the floor, and we booted up the game Pain that came with it for free. It was like a downloadable game. Sign on to the PlayStation Network. You can download a game. But then we played the demo for the first Uncharted. And I remember we walked into the water and we walked out of it and our jeans were wet and clinging to us. And we were like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
My brother was obsessed with Pain. I think it was just because it was something he shouldn't have been playing at the time. I think that's legit the only reason he liked it.
It's funny that the jeans getting wet are like the thing that you remember. I remember when I got my N64, like when I booted up Mario 64 and you could pull on Mario's face.
Oh, yeah,
I remember
that shit was
running
sick.
upstairs with my mom. I'm like, you have to come see this. Look at this. I'm pulling his mustache and it
shit.
springs back.
I totally get Chad there. Twilight Princess did that with Link. You could walk in the water, and then his tunic would be darker green, and he was dripping with water, and be like, oh, Link got wet. That water is real. That water's really in there.
But let's talk about PS5. Here's how today's discussion is going to go. We're going to talk about 4 different aspects of the PlayStation 5, from hardware to the user interface and experience, to the game lineup, and then its marketing leading up to launch. And then we're going to rate it on a 10-point scale out of 5 stars for each of those sections. We will come up with a meaningless rating at the very end of it based on an average of all of those numbers. And that's going to be our discussion today. So I would love to start by just talking about the hardware. Perfect timing since the console itself is on the screen in the background if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch. Matt has it in his hands. How is that not cable managed the fuck to your console right now, your entertainment center?
Right now, it's in a temporary spot. It will get to that in a second, but it's in a temporary spot because it doesn't fit in my current entertainment center. But we'll get to that in a minute. But here it is.
I was going to say it's not too big, but I guess that might not be true for Matt.
It's fucking huge.
It's a big boy.
It's huge.
It is a big
fucking
boy.
huge.
That was the first thing when I unboxed it. I was like, I knew it was going to be big. Obviously, all the memes, all the things. You see there was even the AR. Like, you could see what it looked like on your shelf in AR. I was like, geez, that's huge. But then still taking it out of the box, it was just like, I was not prepared.
The funny thing is, it's light, though. It's not heavy. You know,
The cardboard inside
Much
the
lighter.
boxes was heavy. Did you notice
Right.
that? It was like
Yes.
weighted.
No.
I was like, that's weird. Yeah, it's not too heavy.
I think
I
all the
I go to plug
memes.
my USB cord into it, and I like push it because it's so light. I should put the stand on it, but I can't fit the stand in the fucking cubby. Whatever. Fuck it.
You mean it like barely is short enough to fit inside your cubby? You're going to
Yeah.
suffocate that thing.
Jeez.
Well, I keep putting my hand in there. It's all right.
You gotta get one of those from the couch. You gotta get one of those infrared guns so you can just like shoot it inside that thing and see
That's
what the
fucking perfect.
temperature is.
Or from the couch, you get one of those hair dryers that can also blow cold air, and you just sit
Yeah.
there and blow it
I
on.
should put a fan on it.
You can get a fan.
So far, so
yes.
good. It doesn't seem to heat up too much. I played it a lot. I think, the day it released, and I don't know if it was Sunday. I had it on. I had my parents over for dinner, and I let my mom play it, and my son was playing it. It was on for like basically the 10 hours, and it was still pretty cool by the end of the night. So, I mean, the cooling system in it is phenomenal.
How about how quiet it is too?
I love it. I love
it's-
it.
It is
Silent.
very quiet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call mine silent. You can definitely tell that it's on, but
Yeah.
it is incredibly quiet compared to my PS4
Yeah,
Pro.
like a slight hum to it, but nothing
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
PS4 is. Like, you turn on Red Dead on the PS4, and it's like, my wife knows I'm playing Red Dead. And she's in the bedroom sleeping.
Or boot
all
up
have
Avengers,
digital,
and you
right?
can literally see your PS4 Pro crying. Like, it's just like, please don't.
Do we all
Don't
have
play that
digital?
game.
No, Dallas,
got-
you have the
because I know
disc one,
the-
right?
I
I
got
got
the
the
physical.
physical one.
Okay, yeah, because I hear the disc one's a little bit louder if you have a disc in there. It
Makes
makes like a
sense.
slight difference.
Yeah.
I
That's
haven't
what I've heard.
tried a disc yet. Yeah, I've never heard any PS5. So
Jeff, have you tried out the disc drive? Does it make a noise?
It made some slight noises when I played Miles Morales, but if it's what Holden says is true, I had the disc in there because I got Miles Morales physical. So, but it's been pretty quiet. Not like a jet engine like the PS4 get, like what Dallas said for like Red Dead and stuff.
Ultimately, we should all be
Even
wearing
Destiny.
headphones anyway for the 3D audio. So really, just everyone else's problem, not our problem.
Right. It's not my fault because I'm always wearing headphones. But I can't hear it, but my wife
I
can hear
ended
it.
up Mark's.
I have.
So speaking of headphones, yeah.
Oh, good.
I was going to say that's included in hardware. All the accessories, the headphones, the DualSense controller, like that all count as PlayStation hardware. Anyone have any experiences with those they want to talk about?
The charging stand for the controller is dope. I love the charging stand for the controller. So nice.
Put that on my wish list for Christmas.
Place it down. I had the one for the DualShock 4 as well. But
I
the
did
one with the
too.
DualShock 4, you had to push it down
Yeah, it's like
to get it in
spring-loaded.
there. And like sometimes you wouldn't get it, and you'd come back the next day and like it's not charged.
Rookie mistake.
Come on.
Rookie
But this
mistake.
one you just like can place it on there, and like you just have to like not even fiddle with it for a second, and it's in. Like in a lot, like I've gotten pretty good with it where you can put it down, and you know if it's connected or not, and the lights come on, boom, charging. It's just so nice, lift and go, rather than having
I like the fact that it's
USB-C
just contact
cables.
too. It's not like you don't have
Yes.
to plug in anything to a port to get it to charge.
Nice.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Hopefully I get one for Christmas.
Yes.
Hopefully my headphones come in before Christmas too. That'd be fucking nice.
Maybe I'll.
Go to.
Yeah,
Dallas,
they're
I'm gonna go pick up your
at
headphones.
Brent's house right now.
I have one gripe though with the hardware. One major gripe that I didn't
go
think
for
I
it.
would have because I thought this was going to be like a big like success story for the PS5 is this. this fucking thing.
The stand.
The stand. So I think this design is genius. Like having it hide, having the little like the hardware, and then the button that goes into the butt plug that goes into the bottom thing that keeps it all nice. Like that's just like a nice touch. Like they didn't have to have that cap to fill the hole for when it's not standing vertically. They didn't have to do that. That's nice. They didn't have to have this be a twist shut. But here's the thing. When you're laying it on its side horizontally and you're clipping this thing in, I thought this was going to actually clip into the panel and hold it there. But it has the rubber feet, which is nice. But anytime you want to adjust it or move it at all, it comes free of the stand, which is just, it's sitting there just by itself, it's fine. But when you have to move it, it's terrible. The other thing is, and I guess I didn't realize this as well, is when you want to put it vertically and you want to have it on the stand, which there's not a lot of promotional pictures with it on the stand. Yeah. It has this thing just hanging off on the side, like some like cyst.
Turn it.
Like
Turn
dead side. Yeah, but then
you have to put it on the back.
Yeah,
turn it on the hanging off the side.
No, it has grooves.
No. Yeah, but that turns, man.
Yeah, you turn it.
Turns,
you
man.
clip
Whenever
it.
you turn it to close
right now,
it, those line up so that clip goes on the back of it.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You clip it to the back.
No.
Did you read the manual?
I'm talking about when it's up like this.
Yeah, when it's up like that, spin your
Matt, I will
your thing
unhook my
to close up the
PS5
screw
right now.
hole.
Do it. Do it, Brent.
To hide the
It's
screw.
closed. Yep. But these grooves.
His video froze. I don't know what's going on. Tell me, did you figure it out yet?
Wait.
No,
So hold on.
you should be able to move
No.
the clip so that it lines up with the grooves.
Like this,
See, like
Matt.
Brent has there.
Look,
What?
beautiful.
No. Oh shit.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh shit. I'm an idiot.
So we're here for, man.
Because it's open at the bottom when you have it like that.
Yeah, but the screw will be
screw's got
out
a
of
hole
it
there.
anyway.
The screw's out of
Yeah.
it. The butt
Oh, yeah,
plug's
that's
still
true.
in
The
there.
Butt
won't
plug
even
will be in there.
Yep.
No. I mean, when you use it to stand it up vertically, you'll be using the
Yeah.
butt plug
Screw.
in the console.
Don't mind me. I'm just an idiot. I'm just a simpleton. I'm just an average PS5 lawyer. Fuck. But anyway, I still have an issue with the sitting on its side.
On
It
its
comes
side,
loose, and I don't like it.
I
So-
can't
Just,
even
I want
use
to
it,
poll the
so-
room. Who has a? If you're on your side, raise your hand, and I will call out your name so audio listeners understand. Holden does.
Yeah.
Holden's the
I don't
only
have a
person that
choice.
has on
I
her
have-
side. Matt
So
does.
I attempted.
I won't.
I spent about 5 hours trying to reorganize my cubby. I have a Xbox X, whatever the fuck. What is it? This just Xbox X
One
to
X.
One X. I have one of those. I have my PS4. I have my Switch, and I have my PS5, and I have a modem. So I have like a cubby which I made custom. I have a custom entertainment center, and it would fit perfectly lengthwise, but I don't have enough space in it to put shelves to get all of the systems on a shelf by themselves and the modem. So the modem is a vertical standing modem. I tried to take the stand off and stuff so it would fit, but I can't. I think I'd rather have it laying horizontally, but I can't because the modem's too big. So now it's standing vertically, and it looks ridiculous. Because I have my PlayStation 4 standing next to it vertically, and then I have the modem next to it, and then I have on the bottom shelf, which is only probably, 4 inches high, I have my Xbox One X shoved in there. And then I have my Switch in front of everything. It looks ridiculous.
You could prevent airflow by just stacking them all on top of each other.
Right.
It would great.
Yeah.
I should.
And that way, when one of them gets hot, they all melt.
Yeah.
What I should do is just throw my Xbox One X in the trash, and then I'll have more space.
Xbox sucks.
Yeah,
Sell the Xbox One X for an entertainment center.
that's true. I should actually sell it. That's a good point. But it's a
I'm gonna end up
Series
putting mine-
S, so it ain't worth shit.
I'm gonna end up putting mine on a table, like next to my entertainment center, because again, it doesn't really fit in the cubby hole because it can't go all the way back, and I don't want to push it all the way up against the back of it because I don't want the vents in the back to be like blowing against the wall. So I have it like sticking out a little bit, which is dangerous, and which I was doing with my PS4 Pro as well. I had it like just sticking, like hanging out in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to do that with this. So I'm looking for like a small, sturdy table to put next to my TV so I can have it vertically now in the position that looks nice with the stand like you guys just showed me. and have
That's
it
how
nice.
I've got
'Cause I
mine
also-
right here
What?
off to the side. It's my PlayStation by
Exactly. I
itself
want-
on the table next to the thing.
just like that. And eventually, I'm going to customize this bad boy, hopefully pretty soon, and so I'll be able to display it nice. So
Yeah, right now
I
I
have a
just kind of.
controller. Oh, sorry, Brent. Go on the console.
I have mine on the floor right now.
That's
Best way-
exactly how
yeah.
they imagined it.
You 20-year-old.
They've thought it up. They're like, I would love for this to
but
go on
like
the floor.
right now my situation's temporary. I'm waiting on my TV stand, so I always have like 2 chairs that are holding up my TV. So I just have the PS4. Like, this PS5 is literally like almost taller than the seat of the chair.
That's insane. Dude.
But I think when I get my TV stand here, like it's meant, I should have like a little bit on the side, so I'm just gonna put it like on the right next. Because my TV stand's meant for 5-inch.
I think that's the sleekest look when you could stand it right on the end of your TV.
I
least I don't
want to
have
try
to-
doing that
Go ahead.
because I have mine vertically, and I'd rather have it horizontal. Or so I have mine horizontally. I'd rather have it vertically because I think the whole hot take here, maybe I don't know. It's pretty polarizing, but I think it's the ugliest console like ever made. It's just fucking atrocious looking. I'm sure it'll grow on me, like is whatever, but. And I still feel that vertically, horizontally. Who thought that was a good idea? It looks so weird, like with a portion of it like flapping open, and it's weird. It's so weird looking.
It does look weird horizontally, I think. I agree.
But at least it's like it's symmetrical when it's vertical, and I can deal with that. But it's asymmetrical on its side, and it bothers the fuck out
Although
of me.
you don't have the pregnant one, right? So if you have the pregnant one that's standing vertically, it looks even worse.
Does anybody feel like it's missing something? Like I just feel like it's so, and I guess it's not a bad thing, but it's just so plain. Like there's no PS4, there's no PlayStation badge besides the one that's on the side and the like.
Yeah,
if
you
you're,
can barely
if you have
see
to
it. Although
you can't really
in the
see
inner
it.
flap at the top, in
Yeah.
the front of it, it's got a little.
I wish I kind of wish that they had went with like the PS2, PS3 design where they had that little badge that twisted depending
Yeah.
on which way you had the thing sit right here. This thing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
logo.
twist it.
Is
that
this really
fuck-
twist?
Yeah. So it's like this, and if you want to
Oh,
have it
that's so cool.
sideways, it twisted
Yeah.
sideways. I don't know if you
that's
can
so
see it.
awesome.
Innovative.
But yeah, they did it with the
I guess
PS3
someone did
too.
it platinum Astro.
That's true.
But it's just like it's very like nondescript plain. I don't hate the design. It's definitely not my favorite, but yeah, I think it just could use that little bit of like the PlayStation like colors, like something. I don't know.
I'm excited to
Yeah.
see if when these aftermarket or even if official branded stuff comes out, and I want like to get some black plates for that thing because I think it would look sexy as fuck with black plates and the black middle, like and the blue light. Like that's gonna look so dope, dude.
R.I.P.
just-
PlayStation.
I just really want like a PS1 anniversary edition of the PS5. I feel like that would look really
Yeah.
sexy.
Hell yeah.
I think it looks perfectly sexy as it is. I
I
fucking love
I
it.
think it is sexy. To me, it's just so off-putting to be in that little cubby of mine. Just like the worst part is like, the shelf is the space is so big that you could just see all the wires behind it, and it's like I can't do anything with the wires, and like it just exposes everything behind it. So I don't know.
I go back and forth on it. Like there's some days I think it's like insanely sexy, and then other days where I'm like, what is going on here? Like laying in my bed last night watching New Girl, I just see like right beside the TV like these 2 like bright LED lights coming out. Like it's the only thing I can see in the dark, and I'm like, yeah, it's a little weird.
I kind of like that. I kind of like the LED lights.
Can you customize the lights?
No.
Oh
No.
No, it's
I
blue
feel
when
like
it's
the
on, orange when it's rest mode, white when it's booting up.
I thought somebody
Mine's-
said that they customized theirs. I don't know.
Mine stay white.
You-
Like
stay
mine
white?
don't like blue's turning on. For me, white is like when it's in
Oh, maybe it
use.
is that. Maybe
running.
blue is turning on and
Yeah,
I also don't like how the DualSense, like the blue lights, I wish those stayed on instead of just that little like white like light at the bottom. Like it only
Yeah.
goes white when you turn it on.
that's actually a good point.
I
Brent.
mean,
Moving to
only
the
goes
controller,
blue when it
like I
turns on.
thought the LEDs on the side of it were going to be kind of persistent, like they were on the PlayStation on the DualShock 4. But yeah, it's just the player dot at the bottom that's on to let you know
Yeah.
what player you are. That and the mute button for the microphone. I've noticed that a few times. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was on the whole time. That orange mute
Yeah.
button.
I'm fine with that because on the DualShock 4, like the battery is draining fast. I'm like, I wish I could just turn the light off because I never look at the light. I'm looking at the TV. I don't need to have this light on all the time. So this is like I'm saving battery life, I guess, a little bit. At the very bit, it's just a little bit by having the light off. So I don't mind. It still changes within a game depending on the context, but I don't know. For me, I like the it's how it's temporarily on then shuts off. I wish the
feel like it
PS4
looks-
would have done that.
It just looks really nice with that blue light coming off the DualSense. I wish there was an
definitely does,
option
yeah.
to keep it on.
I haven't been paying attention to the light on the controller. Obviously, I see it come on, but
Yeah, me
noticing
too.
what's on and when and what colors and all that.
I know it feels fucking amazing. Like,
Yes.
It feels great.
like this controller is the best. Like,
Yeah.
I was telling these guys that when I took it out of the box and my wife is upstairs working and I'm like right below her, and I'm like, I made some noise, and she's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "What was that noise?" I was like, "I'm just holding this controller for the first time." She's like, "So you're gonna cry?" I'm like, I mean, I probably could, but I'm not going to. I mean, it just feels amazing. It's way better than just touching it made me feel like this is going to be an unbelievable experience.
Sounds so friendly, but it could be creepy. Just be careful there.
It's what I live for, I guess. Apparently, to say creepy shit.
Yeah, the controller's great, and I think that the not having the full-on light is probably a move. Like, as well as like they had a lot of feedback, like negative feedback with the lights on the DualShock 4, but also they need every ounce of battery in that controller for the haptics and for the adaptive triggers,
Yeah.
because that stuff is amazing. And when you're playing, for instance, Astro's Playroom, I mean that controller is constantly in motion for the most part, like constantly in motion.
Yeah.
So they need every little bit of battery. So cutting out that LED light was probably, a good move for the consumer because they didn't want it in the first place, and also, save some battery on the PlayStation. Then.
And the battery, I think, is fantastic. I've heard a lot of reports of how it's not that strong. It's like I beat Demon Souls in typically 35 hours, sessions lasting till 6 o'clock in the morning, and never once did I have to like plug that in and charge it. It's great. It's fantastic battery life.
I had to plug it in on Sunday for the first time. Like I said, I had my parents over. They came over, so I was probably playing at like 5 o'clock. I sat down and played with my son for a few hours. Didn't plug it in. They got here at like 7. No, sorry. Started playing at 3 o'clock. They got here at 5. It was on constantly until they left at like, I don't know, 8:30, and then I played probably until 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and at like 12:30, I had to plug it in because it died. So it was
Weird.
you
Okay,
know,
so the battery life is definitely more than the DualShock 4 for sure.
in my
Absolutely,
opinion.
yeah.
It's sounding like my controller might die a lot faster than what you guys are saying.
No,
Oh, really?
me too. Me too, Jeff. I think
Yeah,
it depends on what you're playing. If you're playing things that like I've been playing a lot of COD and then like Bug Snacks and stuff that really use the haptics and the adaptive triggers. So I feel like if you're playing like Miles uses haptics, but it's kind of like a mild kind of game. So if that's like a lot of what y'all are playing, I feel like that'll like not waste the battery as much as
I was playing Astro Bot with my mother the whole while they were here. That's what we were playing, Astro Bot. So
Yeah,
that
so-
thing was going crazy.
So yeah, when I first booted up the console, whatever, controller was fully charged. Dark and I played Astro. That probably lasted about 4 hours. I tried charging the controller, and this is something I think I want to bring up. I don't know if you guys have the same problem, but the front USB slot is shit. It does
Oh my
not
God,
charge
yeah.
your controller whatsoever. But
It's
really
so I-
mine does.
Yeah.
Mine's fine.
it doesn't.
There's
it's
a
crazy.
bug right now that it will not charge it while in rest mode like it's supposed to.
Okay,
So
that
I-
might be it.
In the settings, I noticed that rest mode will only charge, the USB port will only work for 3 hours.
You can change that.
Right.
in
Right now it's
settings.
not working at all.
It's not working at all. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
Right.
I
Yeah,
had
I
it
noticed that as
plugged in
well.
all night, and my battery was exactly where it was. And then that's how I know about how long my battery would have lasted. Because after playing like let's say, a couple more hour, like an hour more or two to platinum it, when I woke up the next morning, it's saying, "Oh, it's about dead."
Dead.
My headset was like that too. I went to go charge it the first time I played it. I put it in rest mode and I plugged in my headset and it wouldn't charge. It didn't charge anything. So
I don't mind it too much. I usually sit on the floor leaning against my bed and play anyway, so I can just plug it up. I've never minded plugging my controller up, but yeah, I've definitely haven't had this experience like, whoa, this is faster than the DualShock 4. It just kind of feels like another DualShock 4 to me, which is fine. I'm not going to complain about it. It doesn't feel different. But I know there's a lot more tech inside the controller, so can't really blame it.
Yeah, my DualShock was usually dying. I'd play a full night and like a half of the next night, and then like halfway through my gaming, I'd have to charge it again, or I have to get my other one. And then recently, about a month ago, my second controller died, so I was only using one. So I made sure I plugged it in every night before I went to bed. So I kind of got into that mode of making sure I was charging before I go to bed, anyways. And I haven't had the issue with the USB drive or anything. And if it only takes 3 hours to charge, it must, it's fully charged in the morning. So whatever I use, I don't know, it hasn't been completely dead where it's charged completely in the 3 hour span. So I don't know if it only takes 3 hours to charge or not. But I haven't had that issue with the USB. The night that it did die, I have a phone charger, so I put the USB right in the phone charger, and it was like right by my side. So
yeah, I wouldn't want it to last more than it is though. Like I don't want a 40-hour charge on this controller because I have that Switch Pro controller, and I constantly forget to charge it because I never think about charging it. Yeah. So then I go to use it, and it's almost dead on power. So like having this, I think it's the perfect time frame. It's a super long gaming session you'll get out of it, and you charge it every day, and you're fine. You never think about it.
My Pro controller for my Switch doesn't even charge anymore.
Well, the battery will last like 3 more years, so you're fine.
Jeff, you were about to say something?
Switch.
I was going to throw out there while my front USB is not working, the back ones work fine, which tested that out yesterday. Makes me worried about, I think Chad posted some stuff about PSVR, so that kind of stuff has me a little worried.
Yeah, we'll get to that in
my setup.
The UX, we'll talk about that in my experience with PSVR. But I just want to say that like Dallas and everyone else, like if you end up getting that dock, I just don't even think about charging anymore. The end of the night, I just got my little setup over here. I'll show everyone on the video. Got my little setup over here. Just click my controller down on it, put my headset in there. Got a USB-C cable waiting right there to charge my headset.
Yeah, that's what I was doing with the PS4. I just, before I went to bed, just shoved that. I had the stand for the PSVR that has the charging docks in them for the controllers. Yeah. Just throw that thing right in there. So,
yeah, I never really understood why people get too like mad about battery life anyway. Like, I feel like just plug it in when you go to bed and it should be fine. Like, I've never really, like, I get if you just like throw it out and like you fall asleep one night or something, but like, I always just get in the habit of plugging it up. It takes 2 seconds.
These personally, for me, as far as the battery life goes, I generally agree with you. But sometimes when you're trying to play a multiplayer game with friends and like the DualShock 4 would die really quick, if you just happen to forget to charge it all the way right beforehand, that can just kind of be a pain.
Yeah.
I think it's funny we've talked about the DualSense for this long and have not really mentioned the haptics or adaptive triggers. And
that's because everybody knows how fucking great it is. We don't even have to tell you. No.
I wanted to ask, amazing. But I didn't want to throw off Chad's script. But I was gonna ask if like the adaptive triggers really sold for you guys, because I don't know if I'm feeling them. Like I'm not. The haptics are great, but I'm not feeling the adaptive triggers, at least in the current state. Like, they feel great in Astro, but when I play things like COD or Miles, like, I hate him in Miles because it just feels like it's trying to simulate, like, you breaking the web off of the shooters, but it really just kind of feels like my controller's stuck. And then in, like, COD, like, I don't mind it. I think it's novel that, like, I haven't turned them off. I'm still just using it. I don't mind it too much. It's kind of cool that it's, like, pulling a trigger back, but, like, it was never, I don't know, it was like pitched as this really cool thing of like pull the bow back and you feel the tension. Like, I don't really feel tension, I just feel resistance. Like, I just feel like, oh, you can't pull me back, I'm stuck kind of thing. But I think it has the potential to be really cool. Like, we haven't even seen a game that supports a bow yet.
Right.
So like, I don't know how that's
use the bow in Astro.
Astro. Yeah.
Yeah.
And God of War, I think, actually has bow support, doesn't it?
Brent?
I'm on the last level of Astro.
Astro, I think, is a game that is kind of like not built around it, but built with the adaptive trigger in mind, as opposed to like a game with the adaptive triggers as an afterthought. They're two separate things. And I think that besides Astro's Playroom, I haven't, and I don't know if there is an experience that really beats what Astro's Playroom does for those triggers.
Yeah.
I was talking about, my brother called me today, and he was asking me about PS5, and I was like explaining to him, and it came down to it. I'm like, well, he has a pretty high-end PC, so he understands what an SSD can do for your system, having the OS on an SSD. He understands like what, high frame rate can do for your gameplay and what it looks like. So I'm like explaining to him now. I'm like, all this stuff, but like the biggest leap for me is the controller. That the way it
100%
feels and
agree.
the way it plays, specifically again with Astro, is next generation. That is a huge step forward for console games and controllers.
Agreed.
Full stop. That is what is the biggest thing for me with the PS5 is like the controllers next generation totally. We get better performance, of course, but the controller's where it's at.
I think it has a cool
find
use.
that whenever you think about having a game that is cross-platform or multi-platform and it can be on anything, it's hard for me to imagine a circumstance where I would choose to play it without the haptics if that was available. Like I would play it on Xbox or I would play it on PC or Stadia or wherever the fuck. Now, if it has haptics, I want to play it with haptics because it's just such a different game-changing experience.
Does Destiny take advantage of them? Because I haven't noticed with Destiny. Like I haven't played
It's
COD,
basically
so I
just
can't-
translated Rumble for now.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't played COD yet, so I don't, I can't speak to Brent's experience, but I mean, playing Astrobot, playing a little bit of Miles, like I thought it was amazing. Like I was
Actually, I wanted more from Miles. Like it's interesting that you said that,
right.
Brent, that you hated the swinging. And actually, I have another friend that I was talking to that he's like, yeah, I hated the web swinging adaptive triggers, and I turned them off. And I was like, I actually wanted more. Like I felt like it was too subtle on the web swinging. I was like, I want more resistance in there.
So I guess the to say like how subtle I guess it is, I didn't really notice anything different was going on from PS4, and I beat that game Miles already. So I played that whole game, not really noticing much difference as far as features go. I just wasn't playing close enough.
It's all the settings are also set to the strongest possible by default, so you can go into the settings and dim it down if you want to, if it's too much for you. But I definitely say there is definitely some games that do the haptics really, really well, like subtle stuff, like in Demon's Souls when you go to the Nexus and you're going back. There's like you kind of feel like the smoke swelling inside of the controller as it moves around the screen. It's kind of hard. You have to feel it to kind of understand it, but it's really cool. But then you also have like really extreme ones where an Astrobot, you're shooting the minigun and the resistive triggers like bouncing against you, and I can see.
That was so
it was
dope.
cool. I can also understand in like a multiplayer competitive context where you're playing COD and you might find that really obnoxious and might not want that because it's going to slow down your response possibly. But overall, I think it adds so much tangibility to the games. Like a really subtle one in Bug Snacks I liked a lot was when you
I was
go
going
to
to
hit
mention that, Holden.
Yeah, when you go to hit the cameras or the scanner and do the shutter to scan something, you feel like it's like you literally feel like you're clicking a camera, and there's even a little click coming out of the speaker of the
That's
of the
awesome.
headset too.
That's dope.
It's really cool.
Oh, I got
It's
like
so subtle, but
I
it's
do like
great.
it a lot in Bug Snacks. I think COD, like I don't mind it. Like I don't not like it in COD because of like the competitive advantage. Like it doesn't annoy me. Like I've kept it on. It's just like it's more of just me looking at it like, okay, we were told that like this is a cool thing that's gonna like not necessarily help gameplay, build immersion. I don't really like it's cool, like I get the idea, but it doesn't feel like I'm firing a gun. Like that left trigger, it's supposed to feel like I'm picking up the gun. Kind of doesn't. Like the trigger, it's still cool. I'm still gonna play around with it more, but I can't help just like thinking about like, okay, do I feel immersed? Do I feel like the adaptive triggers did what they set out to do? Not really. Like I did want to bring up that Bug Snacks thing. Like I do really like it. Like it feels like you're taking a picture. But in other things, like I've yet to see a cool implementation of it besides Bug Snacks and Astro. It's really great in Astro, but you know, obviously that's a tech thing.
right.
Gonna show how amazing. Like I want to wait for Horizon, the bow pulling back, like stuff like that. I haven't played God of War on PS5 yet, so I don't know about the axe. Apparently that's a
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I like the haptics themselves. Like aside from the triggers, I feel like when you're playing Miles Morales and you see something that's like sparking with electricity in a cutscene or something like that, and you can feel it tingling in your hands, it's like kind of feels like there's pop rocks in your controller, and it's like ooh, like
Haptics
that
are
is just
amazing.
fucking awesome for me. And then
haptics are a game changer.
they
do
are,
really-
man. When you're paddling in the water in Astrobot and you can feel it's like a gluk 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 in your controller as you're going, it's just like it's fucking incredible what they can do with a couple
Literally,
of motors
you
on the
can
inside.
feel
of it.
textures. So, like when you're an Astrobot and you punch against certain objects, you can tell if you're punching against plastic or punching against metal or what. It's bananas. It's absolutely bananas.
And the way they meld together the sound from the controller, like the sound effects and the haptics, it makes it that much more powerful for your senses. It like really takes it to the
Truly
next level.
immerses you. It does.
And I would go to Bug Snacks for that too, because that camera click, like part of it is the camera click sound coming out of the
That's so
controller.
cool.
So it all like just it's great. It's awesome.
Bugsnax is also cool with the speaker because when you catch like a bug snack, like you'll hear it's kind of like weird reference, but Skylanders Trap Team, where you would like trap someone in the trap and you would hear like the audio come from the TV and then it would go all the way to like the speaker inside the portal. So it'd be in real life. It's like that in Bugsnax. We hear them saying their name in the game and then it shifts to like the controller speaker. Really cool. But play Bugsnax. Like I know we're not talking about games, but like Bugsnax I feel like is a sleeper hit of PS5. Even though like everyone knows the song, I don't feel like people are gonna play it actually. Need to play it.
I will
It's great.
play it.
It's
A lot of people will, since it's PlayStation Plus. It's free on there for 2 months. Just right now, people are focused on Miles and Demon Souls and all that.
Sure.
Demon
And
Souls.
Valhalla.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Can we get some love
Valhalla's
for
great.
Valhalla, please?
Valhalla
Yeah,
is
but
so
Valhalla
good.
has no
But that's an
haptics,
Xbox
so
game.
get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, but let's move on in just a moment to the user interface and the user experience, but I want to wrap up hardware by scoring it. If you could score the hardware, and this includes, again, the console itself, it includes the accessories like the DualSense, the Pulse 3D wireless audio headset with 3D audio from Sony PlayStation for PlayStation 5. It includes the docking station, all of that stuff. Out
Can
of
it
5,
also include the
10
SSD
point
though?
scale.
Because we haven't talked about the SSD yet, and that's
also
kind of
includes
important.
the SSD. It includes liquid cooling for the CPU. It includes all of that. So Holden, it sounds like you might have some ideas or some things you want to bring up that might justify your score. What do you got?
Well, I just wanted to bring up the SSD because I think it's a really important part of the hardware. It kind of ties into user experience as well, but that SSD makes that console blazing fast. Everything is so snappy and fast. I mean, I remember on PS4 going just to look at the storage of my PS4 and it was taking up space, and it would take forever for it to tell me what games was there, how much space was left. I don't think I've waited more than half a second for anything on that console. It's so snappy.
Dude,
And
I was on my PS4 today, real quick, like just downloading some of my cloud, like uploading some of my data to the cloud. Dude, it took like 30 seconds just to get me into the menu to like pick what I wanted. Like then PS5 is like, I get in there and like, oh, do you want to download stuff? Okay, you're done.
Yeah.
it makes the
Do you guys
whole thing
remember
modern.
trying to record Warzone victories?
Oh my god! Or take a screenshot.
So bad.
Yeah.
It would just take. We'd have to hold the button for 20 seconds before it
Yeah,
would
you hold the
register
button,
anything.
and then you're just like, all right, I'm gonna run around, and
Right.
I know 45 seconds from now the thing's gonna finally pop up on the screen. And then I'm gonna have to choose my video in the middle of a firefight.
It's insane, man.
Like I know I bring up Bugsnax a lot, but apparently on PS4, like the loading screen will like show which like Bugsnax you've caught. I've never noticed that on PS5 because there's like
Dude,
literally
it
no
goes so
loading.
fast.
The
Godfall
loading
will
screen
give
doesn't
you
get to that point.
Godfall will give you the tips of like, hey, if you do this feature and wait, it's gone. Like, what was the tip? I couldn't see it.
Something I'm curious about for Miles as far as like fast travel, because in Spider-Man PS4, you would see Peter in the subway like texting stuff for a while. But in Miles, it's instant as far as fast traveling goes. So I wonder if the PS4 version, you get exclusive Miles on subway scenes.
They did make them, and you can turn them on in the Spider-Man Miles settings on the
Okay.
PS5. If you want to see those, you can.
It's just an ad. Do you want this loading screen gone? Buy a PS5.
Buy a PS5. All right, Holden,
so
what's your hardware rating out of 5 stars? 10-point scale.
Out of 5 stars, I'm going to give it a 4. And the only reason I'm giving it a 4 is I expected more from Wi-Fi speeds. I feel like that's the only kind of thing that I feel like was not upgraded. And I kind of had this assumption that it was, because I have blazing fast internet at my house. It's really fast. But I don't see a difference in that on my PlayStation 5. I feel like every device I have can take advantage of the speeds of my Wi-Fi, except PlayStation 5. The device where I download the largest files and would like it to download quicker. I also think that there's some bugs right now in terms of its networking, at least maybe on just my console, where I'll feel like I'll download a game and I'll get some sort of notification saying, oh, we couldn't download this anymore, could not install, was unable to to do whatever, or I'll get disconnected in some way, or we had some voice chat issues the first date, and I think that might have been related to some of the Wi-Fi problems I was having on my unit. So I think that's the only thing I can really knock off points for. Everything else is
I think
just
some of that is
perfect.
attributed to just PlayStation Network getting slammed because, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
party chat and downloading things was taking a lot longer than even it would on PS4 for me. I think it's just the network getting slammed, but that's part of that experience.
The upside is at least file sizes for games have been noticeably smaller. Like Call of Duty Warzone is 80 gigabytes as opposed to a bazillion gigabytes. Destiny is 50 gigabytes now. It's a huge difference. That's because of the SSD, but at least the download times are better in that sense, but not actually because there's faster Wi-Fi downloading. But did I give a score? Was it 4 or 4.5? 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, we're going to 4.5 now. Okay. 4.5.
4.5, yeah.
Jeff, what do you got for score?
I might go with to 4.5 as well, just because everything is a lot more. It's a lot smoother. The controller's great and all that. As far as where I dock points, at least some points, is I didn't mention it too much when we were at that point. The shape and the side of the console, I don't like it. Like, it looks fine, but I do not care about that with console. I wish it was a cube like the Xbox, if I'm being honest, because I have no idea, especially when Darby gets his PS5, how we're gonna do our entertainment system. I don't know if it works in my little cubby holes.
It's on the inside that counts, Jeff. It's on the inside. Did you not watch it? It's on the inside that matters.
You're right. But unfortunately, I'm a mean soul. I got to dock some point. I just want to ask real quick, because I was wondering, who has the Pulse headphone things? I was considering getting some.
I have one. Yeah,
I do.
Is it good?
I like it a lot. I'm coming from a headset
headset.
that didn't work for me, so yeah.
I'm just planning on upgrading, and that seems like a good one for the price.
I would say this: don't buy it. Like, if you have PlayStation Golds and Platinums or whatever you want, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to be a big step up," it's not. It's more comfortable. I like the ergonomics of it. I think the design is like really cool, but the product itself is not really a huge upgrade aside from being able to do 3D audio wirelessly, which the others
Yeah, I just have like a $30 pair of 3D audio VR headphones that aren't.
I'm definitely going to pick them up at some point. I don't want to use these razors on my
tomorrow,
PS4.
They're out there somewhere. They're in Chicago now, so. Yeah, Jeff, I'm
Dallas,
getting mine. They'll be here on the 23rd, hopefully.
All right.
Well,
What's
they'll be
your
at my
hardware
place
score,
tomorrow.
Dallas?
I'm going to give it a 5, man. I mean, to me, this is the best gaming experience I've ever had. So, I don't have any experience with SSDs. I don't have a high powered PC. I never played anything at 4K 60. I never experienced anything like that. So, the haptics blew my mind. Everything about this system has impressed me thoroughly. I was even impressed by the size of it. So, bigger, better, I guess. I'm loving everything about it. The SSD blew me away. The speeds, from sitting on Destiny with you guys for months now, waiting for shit to load, and to be not like last night. I'm like, when we jumped in, I was like, all right, I'm gonna quit out of Valhalla, load up Destiny, go to the bathroom, grab some Cheez-Its, get on the couch, and before I walked around my couch, it was already on the loading screen. Like, it was already ready to press X and enter. Before I'd be able to do all that shit and come back and still get the bullshit for like a minute before I loaded. So, yeah, the SSD alone, the 4K, it helps having the new TV. So, all this whole experience has been a 5 for me, easily.
Perfect. Brent, what you got?
I don't know. I'm thinking a 3.5 or a 4. Like, it sounds kind of harsh, but it's like, I'm loving it. I think it's the best gaming experience I've had, and I have a gaming PC. I got an SSD in it, and it didn't blow me away. PS5 blew me away. I'm loving this. It's the happiest I've been in a while, which I shouldn't be, but whatever.
Why not?
It's just like, I shouldn't revolve my life around a piece of tech, but that's just
if it brings you joy, man, that's all that matters. If it brings you
Marie
joy,
Kondo, man.
facts.
That's right.
Well, like, being objective, it's kind of like, I've had it crash on me a few times. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not the people like, oh, it crashed. It's so dumb. Yeah, technically, but I don't care. I just back up. But I think it has room to grow. So as of right now, I think it's a 3.5 or a 4. I'd say a 3.5 just to be in that space. I think eventually in 2 years, this will be a objective 5. It'll be a personal 8. Objective 5, I think. It has some things to work on right now, but I'm loving it.
Luckily, I haven't had technical issues. Didn't have, I'm hardwired, so I don't have Wi-Fi issues. It's just been an all-around 10 5-star experience.
I've had one hard crash. I've had off.
Yeah.
I haven't had
Scary.
any crashes. What I have had is something really weird. I'm curious if you guys have had this too, where I'll turn it on from rest mode and it'll turn my TV on. So the TV clearly connected to the PlayStation because otherwise that wouldn't have happened. And then the TV says, "We don't get an HDMI signal. We have nothing going on over here." But the blue lights of the PlayStation are on. So I have to go to my TV, unplug HDMI, then plug it back in again, and it works fine. It hasn't done it the past 2 days, but the first few days it was doing that. It was really annoying.
Will it work
Actually,
if you just switch to HDMI inputs? If you just cycle through HDMI inputs on your remote?
No, it didn't
Really?
work.
That's
Yeah, I
strange.
turned the TV off, back on again, recycled I even switched to different HDMI ports. It didn't matter. It was weird. But it's not been a problem the past 2 days, so crossing my fingers.
I could do that once.
Matt, what you got?
I'm giving it a 5. I'm with Dallas. Here's my, and I know I talked a lot of shit about some of it, the way it looked. Sorry, it's looking right at me.
The stand that you didn't know how it
The
worked.
stand that, well, that's just because I'm an imbecile and I didn't realize how to stand it up correctly. But still on its side, I have that issue where it moves around. But I'm planning not to have it like that anyway. So anyway, if I was going to take points off, it would be because of the design. But I cannot fault Sony on going this route because they took a leap and it's so different than any other console that I've ever owned. I'm looking at my PS2, my PS4 Pro. It looks so different than that in any other console I've owned. They took a leap. I'm more of a function over, style person, but if the whole world thought like me, everything would just be square boxes. So I'm glad for Sony to go out on a leap and do something like this. It's very cool. I can't fault it. And honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It performs fucking awesome. And the SSD is crazy good. And it just makes it feel like next gen. Like I said, the controller is that big step forward. So I'm giving it a 5. I've had a couple issues, but with crashes, but very small, nothing major. It powers back on in a second, and I'm playing Miles again. So yeah, I'm giving it a 5. It's awesome. It's everything I wanted it to be, and I'm thinking about us playing PS4 and everything being like we were talking about with capture and screenshots and video recording, everything, and parties, just to get into a party. If I was
Just
playing a
to leave.
game,
Just to say goodbye to each other.
yeah, right, yeah, just go. If I was playing a game and one of you guys sent me a party invite, to be able to have that, I'm oh shit, I'm fucked now. I'm playing online Call of Duty and I have to press this button and the whole game goes away. It's everything I wanted it to be as far as snappiness. And now, so I give it a 5. I love it.
Dude, game night on launch day was so smooth. It was the smoothest I've ever played online with somebody.
Yeah, actually.
Besides a few of you not knowing that the card was right there for parties, I feel it's still insanely smooth. Just being the card's right there. You click on your party. You can look at everyone who's in there. You can leave the party really quickly. Check vocals. You can do the slider for how to adjust how much balance you want between the game and the chat, which apparently was in the PS4, but it was hidden
So
and it was
hard to
hard to use.
Yeah. That's I eventually, once we all learn the menus and all that stuff, it's still working some things out. There's some things I keep on forgetting where they are and stuff, but if it'd be so quick if I just knew where to go. I don't have to worry about it taking forever once I know where they be. Right now, the struggle is shit. Where was that again? But other than that, it's it
Also,
blew my
the
mind.
capture feature, you don't you would always be oh, what was my default? Was it 5 minutes or crap? It's set to 30 seconds, but I wanted this last 2 minutes. You can go in and be 15, 30, 5. No matter you don't have to choose a default.
Yeah. I'm gonna round out the hardware by also giving it a 5. I think that it is. I think that it is an amazing piece of tech from the inside out. It is incredibly crafted. Like, I think crafted is a really good word for it. Every single piece, every single detail, from the inside to the outside to the accessories, it is all designed and it all looks great together. It is one cohesive ecosystem. It's wonderful. And I bought the camera, even though I have no reason to use it right now because Twitch is broken for me on it. We'll get in. I'm going to dock it a lot under user experience and UI because of all the software issues I've had with it. But hardware-wise, I think it's a 5. I think it's got so much going. The haptics are incredible. SSD is game-changing.
Yep.
It's great. Let's talk about UI and UX. And I want to start this by talking about the setup process for it, how that went for you, and then also talking about just like the interface itself, how like your main menu, the control center, the activity cards, those kind of things.
It's all, for me, the UI was also incredibly positive as an experience. I really only have one very minor gripe, and it's entirely my own issue, not the PlayStation's issue, is inverting how the PlayStation button works, where you have to hold to get to the menu as opposed to pushing, and I have to recalibrate how I handle that button now. I'm getting used to it, but there's so many times I'm like, all right, time to put rest mode, not the menu. Damn it. One push, then rest mode.
The good thing is it doesn't take 5 minutes to back out of that.
Yeah.
And go to the you press the wrong button. You're like, oh shit, I'll just press it again and done.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a huge thing, and it's just, again, it's on me. Like, I just need to learn that. And it makes sense because they want you to use the control center more because the control center is so useful. It's snappy and fast, and getting in and out of parties is great. Checking on downloads is really quick, and without having to leave your game. The cards, I'm indifferent on. I don't really have a feeling about them because I haven't really needed to use them that much, but I've heard some good reasons from you guys as to why they're very useful. Like Chad mentioned trophies and kind of jumping into trophy quests much more easily, but I love the UI. I'm in love with it. And the other stuff mentioned earlier too, with just how snappy it is and checking storage, but that's all SSD stuff for me, but technically that's UI as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you on the cards, man. You called out the trophy stuff for me. I think it's going to make platinum trophy hunting so much better. When I was doing Astrobot, to be able to just hit the PlayStation button and it up pops, and like it's based on like what I'm so close to getting as well. Like I finished the game and it's like, hey, you are 87% of the way to getting this trophy, so that's the first one that we have here. And I look at it and I go to the card and it says, you have to find this one puzzle piece. This is the level it's in. This is the part of that level. Here's a video of how to get to it. And then I click the resume button and it's like, cool, we're going to warp you exactly to that spot so you can do it. It's like,
That's amazing.
it's perfect. And so
That's
I was knocking
amazing.
out trophies so quickly with that.
Is that only for
And-
that game though, or is that feature in all the games so far?
So I've had in Miles Morales, it was not quite that detailed, but it does have like, hey, you need to clean up like 4 more of these little lockboxes from around the town, and here's where you have them remaining and what districts they're
So
remaining
it did
in.
tell you where they are and stuff. So I wasn't sure
It
if it
didn't
was
show
just,
me like they didn't have the
basically-
the video tips like Astro
Right.
had,
but it told
they
you.
at least said, hey, this is in the Upper East Side or whatever.
Okay, that's cool. I
Oh,
thought
it's
it might
access
have
all
just
the
been
stuff,
for the trophy list like you got on PlayStation 4, where it's like you're 86% complete with this, and it just what the name of the trophy is and what you needed to do. Like if it actually gives you more information, where it says it's in this area, go, then you know where to go and where to find it, because that'd be so
Astrobot.
helpful for like God of War. I think I'm like
with
at
the ravens.
97%, and I need one fucking raven, and I don't want to play through the whole game to find this fucking raven. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Astrobot's really, really nuanced like that. So I was in the CPU jungle, and at the first area, I think, and there was one puzzle piece I hadn't found, and the hint video was exactly that puzzle piece that I hadn't found yet. I didn't have to
That's
and there
cool.
wasn't even an option to say which video do you want to see. I just said, give me a hint, and it gave me that video specifically. So
Yeah.
it can be tailored to be that nuanced, which is really cool. It's also not so in your face that it's like asking you to cheat. It's more of like,
Right.
okay, I've searched around, I tried to find it, I couldn't find it. Let me just go and use this option now. It was very clean, very seamless.
So I was letting my son play a lot of it, and he'd finish the level, and I'd be like, all right, let's check and see if we found everything. And like I'd select it, go to the card, and we missed a few things. So I just hit the video, and like you said, it's like it tells you exactly which one you missed. Like this is the one you need. It doesn't filter all of them. It just gives you the one that you don't have or the 2 you didn't have. Yeah, it was.
Remember when
I was,
Stadia
like, blown
promised
away.
this and didn't do it?
I don't know what does
Stadia?
Stadia even do. I never even fucking turned it
It
on.
stays in
I
a
don't know.
box.
It's a
That's what
box
it
I'm not
does.
going to open. That's what it
Stays
is.
in its box.
What it does is it begs you to play it by sending you free stuff.
I do kind of want that Stadia box, honestly. Not
I'm
gonna
only
lie.
gonna play it if that when that game comes to. I forgot what the name of it. On to the end or on to the end. I think. I don't know, I tagged you guys in it a little while ago. They were doing like a demo on PC. I was like, you guys gonna play this because it looks so cool. But then they announced it's coming to Stadia. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna play my Stadia.
Dope.
Can't wait.
There's
Chad,
an
I wanted to-
excuse.
I wanted to ask you, since the other trophy guy here, like, what do you think about the list? Like, when you actually go in all like side to side, because I don't like it. I feel like it's so much harder for me to read, like, pay attention to what it's asking me. I like the vertical. I think it's called up and down. I never that. But like on PS4, I liked it where it was up and down. It had a long bar, so I could actually read or maybe click on it. Or if it was a hidden trophy, I would just press X and then square. Now, if it's a hidden trophy, I got to press X and then options. Click on show hidden.
Yeah.
I don't like the new trophy menu, but I
PSN
like.
profiles.
I might like it if I
do-
get used to
I
it.
use PSN profiles a lot more on PS5 than I did on PS4.
I always have when I'm doing a trophy run for a game, I always have, even now with PS5, I have my iPad set up with PSN profiles. My trophy list.
Yeah.
Good
I just
strat.
like I haven't quite figured out the easiest way to get to the full trophy list, which is like the first thing that I got to figure out the best to do. Right now, I think the fastest way I know to access the full thing is to go to the home screen where you then have the play button and then the trophies are off to the side of it. And I was like, okay, that's how you get the full list.
If you go to the control, you go to your profile, and it's in there.
It's in the profile?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has
Yeah.
like
Gotcha.
game time, trophies. Your.
But that's
set-
still like you go to your profile and then you go to the trophies and then you still have to pick the game, right?
Well, I think. No, I think once you hit the trophies, it lists all the trophies you have per game. Kind of like how the PS4 menu was, I think.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know
but,
exactly.
But to answer your question, Brent, it's definitely a lot harder to see at a glance, like how many of them I have, how many trophies there are total. It's like how long is this carousel that I'm going to be scrolling through?
Right.
I also have been. It's not quite as easy for me to very quickly identify with a glance which ones I have and which ones I don't. Like I feel like the card itself that represents the trophy isn't as obvious if I have it or not. And then it's an extra step now to also find out the hidden info, like you mentioned. Rather than just clicking the trophy and pressing square, it's now click the trophy, press options, press show hidden info. So that's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't like it because like options is like a harder button. Feels like more
Yeah.
annoying to have to press that hard button. Also, for some reason, I don't know if it's going by rarity or over quantity, but on Miles it said I had 25 out of 50, and it said I had 39%. So I don't know if it's going like, some trophies are easy, some trophies are hard, so that's kind of what we're doing the percentage. But
Yeah, like for instance, I can remember this for BioShock Infinite. Like I had one trophy left for the platinum, but it still said I was at like 75% because that one trophy was play through the entire game on the hardest difficulty without using saves. So it's like that's weighted a lot more than the other trophies.
makes sense.
Also, math is hard for computers. It's just a really hard time with it.
As far as my experience with the cards go, I haven't really I didn't do any of the Astrobot things where I looked up I mean, I've seen videos of people doing it. I haven't done it myself, but I found the cards to be very useful in the way of when I go to a card or when I go to the cards, there's something there that I need. Join a party. Oh, Holden's sharing his screen. I want to. It's right there. Like it's
right there,
all very useful stuff. The first few cards are like, oh yeah, okay. Like I don't usually go deeper than that, but it's quick and it's right there and it works. And it's usually something that I'm either looking for or something like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'll jump right there in that spot in Miles and I'll start that mission. So I do like it. As far as the setup, super easy with the app, the new app, like super easy. And also I love the fact that they gave me an option for 2-factor, which I'm trying to switch every app or every account that I have that has that option. I like to switch it to that. So that was cool. It was super easy setup.
I was blown away. Like,
Yeah.
I think I got a little nervous because I texted you guys. I was on like a prepping installation screen for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe they was like grabbing all my screenshots. I was like, guys, what if this is grabbing my 50,000 screenshots I have? And Chad's like, yeah, you're gonna be there for fucking 48 hours, man. You're fucked. But I don't know what was taking so long, but it eventually loaded up, and like instantly Valhalla was just there. Like I didn't, like it was just what I was playing the night before on my PS4, and like it was already there.
Was it the
and I was
PS5
like,
version that was already there, or
Yeah.
was it PS4?
Yeah, so
That's
that
good.
was weird. Like people were mentioning that, like, make sure you're playing the right version of this game. So I got all nervous last night, and I was like, let me check this shit. And it seemed to be all, because I have 2 different play times. Like I think Brent mentioned
hate
that.
that.
Yeah, Brent was like, this is so stupid. Well, I was like, thank God I could check it that way. I was like, I'm gonna go check because I remember Brent told me, and I have 2 different play times, so I know I'm playing it on the PS5. But yeah, it was like,
And 2
instant.
different trophies too, right?
Yep.
So dumb. Why
0 out
is
of
it
10.
like that? Why are we told like, hey, play it on the PS4? It's fine. You can just get the PS5 version. And then also like, oops, like you have to redo all these trophies now.
So
It's so dumb.
I don't know like how it works per game, but if I'm not mistaken, I guess you guys know more than me since you guys are doing Valhalla. Because it's dumb. It's different by game/developers, but Ubisoft's actually doing, hey, if you have the PS4 version, you instantly get the PS5 version downloaded. So it's technically like a different SKU.
Yeah. So you don't like, it was Valhalla that I noticed that on because I played it on PS4. Me and Dallas were playing it. I was like, all right, I'll just boot it up on PS5. For one, when I went to go download it, it just downloaded the PS4 version. So I was wondering why I had to download it again. So I was like, all right, whatever. This whole system is stupid. Like I have to rant about the UI for like, I'm gonna rant about the UI for so long. I hate so much about it, and I love so much about it. The whole like backwards compatibility is so dumb. You have to like, there's certain games like it did this for me for Valhalla and COD. You have to go in, even when you download from your library, it's gonna download the PS4 version. You have to go to the store, and like I even figured this out before like so many like accounts had to be like, oh, this is what you have to do. You have to go into the store, you have to go to the game, click the little dots icon next to buy or play, and then you have to click the SKU you want. So like sometimes if it has DLC, it'll be like, oh, Ultimate Edition, or oh, PS4, PS5 version. You have to click that and then click download. And then like we said before, it splits up the trophies, splits up the playtime. So I have one Valhalla that's 11 hours, one Valhalla that's 2 hours. Not to mention, even on PS4 games, there's some that say like 3 hours, some that say 27. Some of those are demos, but some I know are not. Like Injustice 2,
Yeah.
like there's like I got Injustice 2 again like a couple weeks ago. I was playing it. I got an hour into it. I saw that in my like playtime. I was like, what? I know I have more than an hour. Scroll all the way down, and then there's my 111 hours for Injustice 2. Like none of those are the beta. I never played the beta, so those are just 2 different versions of a game. It does that a lot. It does that for demos too, and it won't tell you it's a demo or a beta.
Are they
But
2
it's
different versions of the game though? Like, did you buy like the I don't know, game,
That might be what it is.
I'm
I just
guessing that's
realized
what it
that because recently it was the Ultimate Edition, so that might be. But that's so dumb. Like it doesn't tell you that
But they did
either.
that on PS4 too, right? Like if you bought the Ultimate Edition of Horizon, you could get all the plats again in that game, even if you beat the
Really?
original.
No.
Yeah, you could play through the Ultimate Edition, which comes with the DLC or the Game of the Year Edition or whatever it is, and you could get every single trophy again. So you could get 2 plats in 2 different Horizon games.
I think
I
this
do
is also
like that.
connected to being able to hide games, which you can't do on PS5,
Yeah.
but was possible on PS4. So once they add that back in, like hopefully you can just go in and hide Injustice 2, whichever the 2-hour version of it was, and keep the 110-hour version. Or my God, like I have the Final Fantasy 7 demo where it's like you played this for less than an hour. I'm like, I played Final Fantasy 7 more than that. Oh right, that's the demo. Or all these PlayStation Now games I would never play. Like, so hopefully that resolves that time frame and having the duplicates there.
I
So I feel like they'll have to add that back again.
also, when you download Miles, it does the thing where it downloads both of them, and even like talking to Chad, he
hate
didn't
that.
even notice it until like you realize you go into your extended. If you have an extended installed, it automatically installs it there. So I was like, why are there 2 versions of Miles? Like one of them's not the remaster because the remaster's there too. And I was like, what? I at least like that I can play the PS4 version on PS5 so I can get that plat again without going to my PS4. But it's still dumb how it tries to install both of them. It doesn't even tell you in the download 4 or 5. I like the card system. I think the cards are cool. Like Bugsnax uses them really well. Never gonna stop talking
Loves
about that
Bugsnax.
game. But like
man.
I tried to like not use them. Like I try to figure out how to catch each bug snack on my own as much as I could, but there's some times where like I don't get this, and like the help, like the game help, will like be a really like useful. Those I like that a lot. But going on, like, not to try to make this episode a lot longer, I'll try to be short. But like I was talking about this on Free to Play a couple days ago. I still have to edit it, and the word I used a lot was restrictive. And I don't necessarily think it's restrictive, but it just kind of like, I don't think it's just like new console blues not knowing how to like navigate. I think there's a lot of like, sometimes it feels like I'm boxed in where I'm pressing so many things trying to figure out like, oh snap, gotta do this, or like, oh, I can't do this. Like, it's like so many different like workarounds to get to a certain menu, like trying to figure out where your capture gallery is, or like going to your friends list, trying to figure, like, took me a while to figure out where my messages were. You have to go into Game Hub, and then it's parties now. So I'm like, what? I couldn't figure out where my messages were. There's a lot of things. Like, it's not restrictive, and I still love the basis of the UI. I think it's really nice. It's just like sometimes it really feels like I'm boxed in, and I can't really tell what to do.
I agree.
Yep.
For the
I
UI,
think one last go for it, Jeff.
For UI stuff, I haven't messed with nearly as much stuff that you guys have, like trophies and stuff, and I haven't touched trying to do like group chats and stuff yet. I pretty much have just started the games and then playing those for hours on end. But just kind of the two things I guess I can touch on is just going to the player cards. I haven't done much with them. Brent, I'm glad you mentioned bug snacks, because that might help me, because I'd even think about using those. There's already one of them that I need some help on.
Yeah, some of those get really hard. Like
I don't know if it's supposed to be this hard, but that weird sandwich worm thing is.
Oh, the sub centipede.
Yeah, but
They love ranch.
I love that game so much. It's so stupid.
This is the time for that. But the one time I did the player card, and it's kind of going back to the like how things fast load that just really impressed me, was when I was going to play Astro again, and get all the trophies I needed for the platinum. I just clicked on it, and one of the cards would just go to the beach level. I clicked on that from the main menu. Astro wasn't even open, and there's like 2 seconds later, I was loaded into that level, and it's
That's
just kind of
insane.
like, okay, yeah, this is the next gen. The other thing is, I don't know how much you guys had a problem with this on PS4, but just the way the PlayStation Store is on the main menu and how fast that is to get there.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God, because
Yeah.
it takes forever to load if it ever does on my PS4, and it does
Yeah.
in Darby's as well. Same
Yeah.
way.
The one thing
Instant.
that has blown me away is the Explore page. Like every time I turn, like I've literally every day I've turned on my Xbox, my Xbox, my PS5. I'm like, oh, what are they trying to like? I want to play what they're trying to sell me right now. Like this looks amazing.
You're not wrong. What did I text you guys yesterday? I
think it was
turned on my
Fortnite, wasn't it?
PlayStation, and the
Fallout
Black
4.
Widow winter suit was
Yeah.
for Fortnite was huge on my screen,
Right.
and I was like, shit.
Dude.
I downloaded Fortnite. I fucking bought it, and I was like, yep. If I'm gonna play Fortnite, I'm not gonna play Fortnite without this suit. I'm not some
Right.
idiot. So I downloaded it and I did it. So it works.
Today was old Elder Scrolls Online, and like I loaded up and there's this cool looking castle. This thing. I was like, what is this? And I watched the whole fucking video, like the minute and a half video. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't care about this game, but this looks fucking great. Like, what are they trying to tell me?
I forgot I was gonna mention that. Like, I don't necessarily mind the idea of news, like, but I'm just kind of tired of booting it up and seeing like I have 3 cards and one of them's like Fortnite or GTA. Like, I'm just kind of tired of seeing that dumb Fortnite skin, not the Black Widow one. It was like some. I don't care. I don't want to see this on my
Wait,
screen
it doesn't
right now.
change daily for you?
Sometimes it does, but like there'd be a couple days where it's like black and yellow days where
Yeah, I had the
E2A.
GTA one. I
Okay.
had GTA, Fortnite. I think one Valhalla. I don't remember. It was GTA.
I think today's
Fortnite.
Valhalla.
No, today was the Elder Scrolls.
Valhalla. I guess it's weird. I guess it's not like updating like on a regular schedule.
Have you guys gotten the Rocket League one?
No.
I got
I'll
Rocket
be
League
honest
the
with you.
other day.
I've never noticed the Explore tab. But I mean, I've seen the rocket ship there, but it's never like booted up and been on that screen for me. It's always just been
really?
on whatever
Every
I was
time I
playing
boot it
last.
up, it's
I've
on.
never
Yeah,
noticed
same
any.
here.
I think.
Yeah, it's always on the explore screen. And then when you open your cards without playing anything, there's like 3 and one of them's used.
Yeah. I mean, I love the UI. It's beautiful. Like Holden said, it's going to take me a little while to get used to pressing or holding the PlayStation button. But other than that, it's like you were saying. It's when Matt said whatever he needed was like right there. Like even the other night, I didn't even know. I was like, what? Let me see. I'm just going to press this button. And I went over and there was like a bunch of different things that I didn't know would make the experience easier. And it did. It was like, I think we were trying to figure something out the other night when we were all playing together. And I was like, oh, I just figured this out. Like I was just fucking around, but it was just, nobody told me what to do, but it was easy enough to figure out on my own with the help of the great guidance it gives you. So
I hope more
my
third
last
parties
good
use
thing that I'm
Game
going to
Help a
say
lot.
about it. What'd you say, Brent?
Oh, just real quick. I hope more third parties use Game Help because, like, at some point in Bugsnax, I was kind of relying on it. Like 2 seconds, I can't do this Game Help, but like, it still is like a really cool thing. I hope people use. Like, I get it's taking jobs away from IGN, but it's kind of like it's still just so nice, especially since you can't use the browser anymore. You can't go into trophies and be like, search internet. How do I do this? Game Help is like a really cool tool, like automatically giving you a little video. And like people say like, oh, developers have to like spend more time on it. You can easily get an intern to be like, all right, just play the game and record a couple of videos. I don't think it's going to be insanely hard.
You pay me to do that.
Dude, man, I'd do that.
I think my last good thing I'll say about the whole UI and UX is the time to beat the mission you're on was incredibly useful for me in Miles Morales, where you pull up the cards and it's like, you're in this mission and you've got 10 minutes left. And I was like, oh, great, cool. I can hold my urine until the end of this mission. Or to say, you've got 35 minutes left. I was like, oh, okay, this is more of a thing. Maybe I'll put it into rest mode, go take a pee, go talk to my family, and then I'll come back and finish this a little bit later. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the cards.
Yeah.
It's nice getting to like the last mission of Miles and being like, oh, you have 50 minutes left. Okay, let me go do this real quick. Maybe let's go make dinner or something like that, and then I'll come back to it.
Yep.
Because sometimes final fights are like 2 minutes, sometimes they're like 3 hours. So it's kind of like nice knowing how long you're going to get yourself in for unless you die a million times.
Yep. Yeah. Holden, you look like you're going to say something?
It's not related to that. Just one of the things I wanted to mention with the UI before we move on to kind of the criticisms of the UI is how much more fun it is to be in a party with people when playing a single player game when they're playing something else.
Yeah.
It really adds this element of like, oh, I want to show this to you guys. This is really cool. So like, I think I was playing with Dan Root and some of his friends, and I got to this part in Demon Souls where there was this just really unbelievably good looking lava. I really wanted to take a picture of it, put it on Twitter, and just be like, real life or Demon Souls, because it looked that good.
That was us, bro.
That was us. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, guys, check this out. You gotta like check this out. And I just screen shared it, showed it to you guys, and then we could just put it away really quick. It was just so easy to be able to do that, and that's really cool. And I think kind of changes even just playing a single player game on your own. It's a really cool experience because I don't know, like I don't want to take a screenshot necessarily. I just kind of want to show you guys really quick and then move on. And it's also so passive because it's just in the corner, or if you want to look at a full screen, you can. It's easy to move that thing around too if you want to continually watch someone while you're playing something else. The share screen functionality, I think, is just fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
and
fun
I like
sitting
that
in,
it's
like-
really easy to adjust the we talked about the party chat versus game audio, being able to adjust that really quickly. So if I am screen sharing with you and I have your Demon Souls right next to my Miles, and I'm in a part where like, I really need to listen to this cutscene, I can just boop 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 on my headset, change it so I'm hearing my game and I'm almost not hearing you at all. That way I can listen to it and I can just knock it back whenever I'm beating baddies.
Yeah.
It's really fun kind of like talking to people and like parties of playing single player games. I didn't realize how fun it was and how easy it is to get in a party. Like all of us sitting on launch day playing games, or like me a couple days ago, like 2 a.m. playing Bugsnax, and Holden's like, hey, let's quickly hop in a party. I want to hear about Bugsnax.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I think it's time to shit on the UI and the UX a little bit. And
I think I already did
we've
that
all
a lot.
mentioned it. We've all mentioned it. Is that like it feels not quite baked yet. Brent and I have both had like hard system crashes where the system just like shut off in the middle of Miles Morales, booted back up, told us, you turned me off wrong. It's like, bitch, you turned yourself off wrong. And then it repaired itself, and then it was just a black
Me and
screen.
Chad's crash was like the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Like playing Miles, crashes, I have to like hard boot them off and put it back on. Like, oh, repair the hard drive. I do that, and it was sitting on a black screen.
Ooh, that's
I had to
scary.
turn it off it.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
had-
and the black screen you just sat there until you felt ballsy enough to turn it off yourself. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh God, I hope it turns back on.
I didn't have any crashes like that during Miles, but I did have, and I don't know if this is a Miles issue or the hardware issue. I would have, I guess it would be more Miles. During a mission, I wouldn't be able to progress the mission. Like, I'd have to activate a generator, but when I walk up to it, it wouldn't, like, the prompts for the buttons wouldn't come up. It just wouldn't let me do it. And so I'd have to reload my last checkpoint, and it would reset the level and be able... It's happened to me probably a good handful of times. A couple times today, even, where I had, like... Or, like, enemies just won't be there. They're like, take out the enemies, and they're like, there's nobody here. Like, there's nobody... They're all gone. So I don't know if that was an issue, but I also had a couple like hard crashes where it just would, it almost like the system just like kind of like shut down and then quickly came back. But I didn't have any repair the hard disk or anything like that. So yeah,
I had this
couple
thing
issues.
I had this weird thing in Miles where like I would boot into the game and my buttons, I would get into like the map and all my buttons would work there, and then I'd get into the game and I couldn't jump, I couldn't swing, I couldn't like attack. I'd boot out of it, I'd boot back in, it would. And I hard booted the system off, got back in, still wouldn't do it. And like I said, on the menus, X, I don't understand this. Eventually, just decided.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, along with, I've had it freeze a couple of times on me in the game. So I had to like close the game and then take 5 seconds to load back into it because the SSD is amazing. Yeah. But then you have the stories out there where like, games, if you go into rest mode in the middle of the game, then apparently it crashes your system or it makes things run really jankly. I haven't had that happen to me, but it sounds like there's a lot of kind of widespread just software issues that'll get patched out, I'm sure, pretty quickly. But it's just like that's part of that experience, getting your new console and playing your games on it.
It also could be the game too, because I was playing Demon Souls and I've experienced none of that, none of it at all.
I had
You and
one
I
crash
both
or
had
something.
one in Demon Souls where it said, you can't leave right now because you're in multiplayer. Like, I'm not fucking in multiplayer.
Oh yeah, we had that one. Yeah, but it was
Yeah, but-
It was a very small thing.
I had
Yeah,
a
I did
crash,
have
but
that one.
I think I was playing Miles when it happened, and it just like basically shut off. I don't know if you guys are talking about when I had to walk off, but yeah, it just went to like a black screen, and then I don't remember if I pressed, if I had to boot the system back up, or if it just started right away by itself.
That's what happened to me, Dallas. I had the same experience.
That was the only crash I've had so far. And then last
was
night I
one-
got kicked out of Destiny.
That's right.
And that was it.
There was one more thing I had in Demon Souls actually, which is where I was in Proletaria, wherever it's called, part 3 of that world, and I turned this corner, and then all of a sudden, just the game froze. But there was like this circle around my character where everything was still clear there, and then everything outside the circle was completely motion blurred. And I just kind of let it wait for a second. I trusted the SSD would catch up. Maybe it was like loading something. I have no idea. And then it just started working again. But nothing ever crashed on my system. I did have some weird issues in the PlayStation Store. I'm curious if you guys have this too. I have not gotten sound from any trailer I've watched in the PlayStation Store. There's just no sound on anything.
I don't think I've done.
Yeah,
I've watched trailers on my phone on the app, but I don't think I've done it in the PS5 store.
I haven't either.
I'll have to
Nope.
try that. I'll have to check that out
On your own.
Maybe you need a Pulse 3D wireless headset, and I don't have one, so I can't listen.
You need the Pulse 3D wireless audio headset for PlayStation by PlayStation 5.
Chill. Speaking of the headset, the Pulse 3D headset, I had an issue almost immediately when I was playing with Astro with Holden, and when on launch day, I had this weird bug where you have the headset on, right, and I'm using it wirelessly. The dongle's plugged in, and I'm in Astrobot, and very early on in one of the levels, you have to blow a pinwheel, which they make you blow into the controller, and it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. I was in a party chat with Holden, and I'm like blowing, and first of all, it like Holden's just hearing me blow into the
Yeah, like just no warning for Matt of like, oh, that's part of an Astro, but all of a sudden I just hear.
And I'm like, what the hell? So it won't work. And I'm like, then I'm starting to realize that, okay, the mic is not active on the controller because it's coming in through the headset. Okay, that makes sense, but it's weird that this is kind of seems like a something that they should fix. Anyway, and then so I'm like, okay, let me try this. So I mute my headset to see if it'll automatically, or to see if I can get controller help, and then all of a sudden the pinwheel just goes like as fast as it possibly can go, just by me muting the headset. I wasn't saying anything, I just muted it and it just went. So I was like, okay, that's the workaround. But other than that, if I wanted to do it like the right way, I'd have to unplug the dongle or shut off my headset and blow into the controller. So I thought that was a weird little
I got
hardware
around that,
software
the same
thing.
issue. I got around that by just screaming.
I didn't want to do that to Holden, but yeah, I noticed when I would
just
talk to
scream
Holden
really loudly, it pretends that you're blowing into it as well.
Matt just wanted to blow sweet nothings in my ear. That's what it was.
Yes.
So
it was like
sexy
we were
blows.
playing for a few hours, and every 10 minutes or so, it would just be just blowing into the controller.
That's a feature. That's a good feature. That the headphone doesn't pick up that breathing. That's good. That's good for you guys. You won't have to hear me breathing in the mic once I get it.
The last thing I wanted to mention about that whole user experience thing is how much of an afterthought and again like half-baked thing VR seems to be on PlayStation 5.
Man, it's a shame, man.
The most afterthought.
It was not a fun experience. I spent about 25 minutes trying to troubleshoot why it wasn't working. To be clear, you can only use the PS4 camera, but you have to get the free adapter from PlayStation. You can't buy it. You just have to sign up, put your serial number in it, and hopefully not send it to Argentina or Albania or wherever Dallas.
They haven't gotten back to me yet, the bastards.
I didn't send mine to Argentina
I sent mine
Dallas
to-
did, but
I sent mine to Albania.
But I put in my serial number on the little box, and it gave me an error. Call this number, and I immediately like, well, I'm definitely not calling that number. So you can fuck right off, Sony.
I
So
called the number. I was on
overloaded,
hold
like,
for
as
about
fuck.
58 minutes. I actually left my house, went to my parents' house, ate dinner, and then right as dinner was finishing, somebody actually picked up.
But the overall experience itself it's pairing the Move controllers with the PlayStation. It took a couple of tries before it finally recognized that it was supposed to connect and turn on the PlayStation 5 instead of the PS4. It also, you have to have the processor box plugged in to USB. You have to have the camera plugged into USB. And then VR games are usually a little bit bigger than your average game, so I have them on an external drive. So it's all three USB ports taken up for just VR. And this is, I bought the second version of the VR just so I wouldn't have to be unplugging and plugging in cables all the time when I want to use it. But now I have to because I can't have my wireless dongle for my Pulse 3D wireless audio headset from PlayStation 5 plugged in while I do it. I can't have my HD camera for not broadcasting to Twitch because that was broken for me too and still is broken where it just, after 2 minutes, goes to blocking the video. So that was shitty. And then it doesn't tell you that the front USB port is not fast enough to support the camera. And so I had it all plugged in, and I didn't remember what ports I had everything plugged into. I got Beat Saber, booted it up, the camera looked at me, and I said, cool, yep, the camera's in the right spot, and then the whole system shut down. I was like, okay. Turned it back on, and it's like, calibrate your Move controller by pointing it at the camera, and then the camera's not working. And then it told me, your camera's not connected. And I was like, it was just fucking working a second ago. I saw myself on the screen. And then it didn't tell me that I had to plug it into a different, like it was working temporarily in that port, but it doesn't tell you that the front USB port is not fast enough to support it. So I rearranged some stuff, plugged in my storage to the front, booted up the console, and it says, your external storage can't be used on this USB port. Please plug it into the high-speed one on the back. And I was like, fuck, now I got to rearrange it again. And then I got it up and running, and Beat Saber was broken. So I just fucking said, I'm going to kill myself, and that's it.
Bruh.
Are you keeping the PS4 as your VR
I give my
machine,
PS4
or?
to my brother, so...
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
I got my
As of now, my
Pro
PS4 is
ready.
going to be my VR machine.
As much as
If
it was
I
before,
haven't
I'm sure.
I took my PS4 out to the pasture.
You shot it?
It went to a
Maybe
farm.
it's
Y'all
on
got a
video?
PS4?
That'll
Sick of the
do.
We're going a little
That'll
bit
do.
long. We still got to talk about games and marketing. Let's score the UI UX, starting with this time, Matt, you're going.
I'm going to give it a 3.5 with room for improvement because of all like the things we said about the bad of it. I think there's a lot of good, but I think a lot of stuff needs to be fixed. And so once it's fixed, I would be confident in moving the score up. But as of now, I'll give it a 3.5.
Dallas.
My personal experience is another 5. I haven't experienced any issues really besides that one soft crash I had.
I love soft shell crash.
From hearing the reports, I would probably say it's more like a 3.5. But I'm personally saying it's a 5. So fuck everybody else.
Jeff.
I'll go with a 3.5 as well. I haven't really been having a problem you guys have. The only crash that's happened to my PS5 is when Darby was messing with it alone trying that. I personally haven't had any of the problems you guys have mentioned, but they've been so prevalent, and obviously you guys all have been prevalent. I've seen on the internet that it's got to go down. Those problems are there, not just one-off thing.
True.
And Holden.
I'm gonna go 4. I haven't had too many problems. I feel like I'm also playing it more casually than like setting up VR to it and kind of really pushing it to its limits. I mean, just being in party chats, talking to friends, sharing screens, playing games. It's been really fast, really smooth, really, really great. Of course, I've had a few odd bugs, so I'm not going to give it the full 4.5. But I mean, I trust that all these issues are going to get resolved. This is a console Sony's going to dedicate, 7 to 10 years in. So I feel like it's going to be good. The only real annoying thing to me was something I need to work on, and that's the PlayStation button and how that works now. But that's just again, it's a me problem. That's not a PlayStation problem. I get why they made that change. It makes sense. I need to break the habit. So I don't know. I think 4 is where I'm at.
Brent.
I say 3. And I mean, it's I like aspects about it. I don't want an overhaul. Don't Xbox it. I think the idea and the layout, great. I like what they're going for. They just it needs a lot of tightening. It needs a lot of tuning to figure out the best way. I'd like to see things. I'd like to see it a little bit snappy, more features added. The basis works fine. It just needs a lot of work to really get it up to a 5, in my opinion.
Gotcha. I am also going to go a 4. And I think that what's there is incredibly promising. It's intuitive. It's leveling up that experience that we had on PS4 and just making it easier to access, giving us new things to kind of expand our gameplay. But it's got some kinks to work out. So it's got a 4 for me right now. Games. Let's talk about games. This includes the game launch lineup. This includes I want to start by talking about Astrobot, because I think that game and this system, you can't talk about either one without talking about the other. So I want to use this as kind of maybe a mini review of Astrobot and talking about that a little bit more in depth, and then also just talking about the game launch lineup. So let's start with Astrobot.
Hot take on Astrobot.
So good. What would you say, Holden?
My review of Astrobot, 2 out of 5 stars. Only reason it's 2 out of 5. I want more of it. There was not enough Astrobot.
Very well played. Well played, Holden.
If they had this be a full game, it would have been a Game of the Year contender for me. I thought it was that good, that immersive.
It was so good.
Joyful and just happy throughout. It was fantastic. Such a great experience.
Astrobot Playroom. Astro's Playroom. It made the launch day of the PS5 so much more memorable for me, and I will will be me playing and talking with you guys in the party will be something seared into my mind for when I think of when I got the Wii on launch. I waited online at Target. That's a memory for me. And then coming home and being so tired I didn't play it. Getting the PS5 and then coming home, plugging it in and playing Astro. It's so fun. It was so fun. I was smiling ear to ear. It was the perfect launch into the console, into how to do everything, the control and everything. And the game is so good. And Holden, you're right. I want more of it. I want double the levels. I want all of it. I want more. I want to collect all of the PlayStation hardware variant colors. I want all of that.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, I got to experience that with you guys. I also got to experience with my in-laws who came over for dinner that night that it released. Showing my brother-in-law who it like blew his mind. The next on Sunday, I had my parents over. I got to show my mom. Like I used to game with my mom when I was on the NES. You know what I mean? So like to bring my mom back. The only other time I've ever showed her a game was God of War 3, I think, on the PS3. It like blew her mind. So to bring her back, sit her down, and say, "Look at what this has become." Like she used to play Ice Climbers like religiously. And I was like, look at what gaming has become, and it blew her mind. And the little bit of experience I've had with my kids, it's just, I like Matt said, entire time just smiling, like just so much fun playing that, feeling every little step you take in that game. It's just, I don't play 3D platformers either, so I don't know how it compares to like Odyssey and those games like that. But this just blew my mind. It's amazing.
Jeff, what do you think of Astrobot or Astro's Playroom?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I probably mentioned it if you listen to the Last of Us spoilercast we did. When we talked just PlayStation exclusives, I sang the praises of Astrobot Rescue Mission.
That was your game of the year that year, right?
No, it was like number 5. But I said what meaning might say controversial is I like it more than God of War.
Yes, that's
but
I don't know.
But this game's great. It was actually why I agree with Holden wholeheartedly. I want more of this. I was actually impressed with how much of a full game this kind of felt. It's a short game, and I definitely want more, but I felt it was really well paced and everything to where it's like a perfect like short game. The pacing was excellent. There were so many things going on between getting those little puzzle pieces and just all the Easter eggs and stuff. You're always finding something. It gives you a reason to explore every little corner. You're always doing something. You're always smiling. And I'm just like, obviously I love that team because of Astrobot Rescue Mission, but this is like, okay, I'm so happy this game exists and everyone's going to be able to play it because it's built on the system. So more people will play Astrobot. This team will get more beloved, and hopefully they'll get a much bigger budget during the next game, which I think they will because everyone seems to love this game.
Yeah. I can't imagine the execs of Sony is saying, okay, cool, so we launched that. We're done with Astrobot now, right? No one else wants it anymore.
Yeah, so at the end
there's no way they're saying that.
Yeah, at the end of a PlayStation blog at the launch of it, they said we'll hear more Astro news soon. Who knows what that means exactly, but sounds like we're getting
Game
something.
Awards announcement for a full-on game?
I mean, that'd be great.
Chad, what'd you think of that? You platinumed it, right?
I platinumed this game. I thought it was fucking amazing. I think this cements Astro as a de facto mascot now for Sony. Like 100%. He is surpassed Sackboy, I think, now based on this experience. And it's something they've been trying to make him a thing since the Playroom on PS4 when you got the camera and you could cover your face and all the little guys would go, "Where are you?" And then you just go like that, and then they all go, "Woo!" And it's fucking awesome. But no one played the Playroom. And then you got Astrobot Rescue Mission on VR, which was amazing. It's one of the best VR games out there, but again, it's such a limited install base, nobody got to play it. So I'm so glad that people are finally getting to see just how amazing this little character is, the world that he's in. And I loved the nostalgia that it brought back for all of these products and the attention to detail. Like, who would have thought that
hearing the Sony, the PS1 loading? I just want that. Just give me that. That should be on every PlayStation because I want that. I don't want the new shit because there's nothing that gives me like the greatest memories than just hearing that sound. Yeah,
true.
And who would have thought that picking up just a 3D model of the plastic original PlayStation controller would bring you so much joy.
But let's talk
I can't wait
about
to get the DualShock variant of this.
Those 3D models are gorgeous.
I know.
They look so good,
So
and the
realistic.
detail down to the serial number of what what the serial number was is all 1-for-1, 100% accurate. It was amazing. It's so awesome.
Astro's Playroom is the type of game that like makes you realize like how big of a PlayStation fan you are. Like if you're a Sony fanboy, like you're up in that game being like, damn, like I've loved it, but like I didn't realize like that I love Sony just this much. Like when you like see all these cool little artifacts coming together and you're like, dude, I remember playing the PS1 back in the day, never having a memory card, having to play Spider-Man a million times, having the PS2 playing GTA when I probably shouldn't have when I was like 8.
Even though it's not a fighting game, this is definitely PlayStation Super Smash Bros. In terms of nostalgia for the past of the PlayStation brand.
Yeah, all the cameos, dude. How awesome were the cameos?
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, they're fantastic. And I would love for that to be like the theme of Astrobot, like going forward even. Like, imagine if the next game is you're inside different PlayStation consoles as those different worlds. As opposed to having like World 1, you have PlayStation 1. You go inside of PlayStation 1 and the levels are kind of built around like
that'd be so cool.
You're playing Crash or something. Yeah.
Like, this one, the different parts of it were based on different systems and stuff. Had like 4 levels. Each of the 4 levels is the different one of the main games.
Yeah, that would be dope. Like, it's disc, like there's a portion about the disc drive for PlayStation 1, or DVD player PlayStation 2, or the Emotion Engine. Like, they could do things with that I think would be kind of cool. And then also, like, the collectibles are always based in that area, like the PlayStation 1 collectibles, PlayStation 2 collectibles, and kind of, again, like, creating that theme for each world. Because I think just being inside the PlayStation 5 was such a cool experience in the game. Like, there's a point where you're in CPU Plaza, and I climbed up to one of, like, the really high parts to get one of the puzzle pieces that was really high up there, and I'm like, oh man, I'm inside the console right now. Like, that's so awesome. Like,
I had that aha really moment very late in the game.
Oh, I did too. Yeah,
that's a great text.
I love that it wasn't also like it wasn't just a nostalgia, like this is a cool experience to have on day one, but it even better than Wii Sports did, it was the showcase for the controller and what the console could do as well. I mean, obviously the game looked gorgeous and it had a great art direction and great graphics, but the haptics throughout it, we've mentioned a ton of them already, from the bow, being able to feel those and use the adaptive trigger, the zipping up of all the different things that you get into. I just would rub my thumb on that touchpad over and over just to feel the zipper as it goes up the controller.
The thing is the monkey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I could still feel it now. Like that felt amazing.
I haven't played that one yet, but like rolling the ball was really fun.
Rolling the ball was great.
Rolling the ball was fun. I'm telling you, the monkey one is by far the coolest tech piece of thing I've ever experienced. It blew my mind. It was the first one I did, so but it just fucking blew my mind. I was like, this is incredible. I've never seen anything or played anything, felt anything like it.
I do really love the level. I think it was like SSE Speedway where you're like getting in the hang glider and you're like using the gyroscope. As much as I don't like gyroscope aiming, I thought it was really cool kind of like having to like steer it like a bunch of different ways.
That was the hardest one for me. I'm
terrible with those. Yeah. That whole level was harder. When you do the last rocket ship portion, oh man, I got electrocuted so often.
I enjoyed
that was so fun
every time.
That was my second favorite one, I think. It was the monkey, then the rocket.
I still love the frog suit because when you move that controller back and forth and you can kind of feel it clicking and it's so cool.
That's the one that my mother and my son did. My son loves that one. Every time I got to that, he's like, let me do it. I'm like, okay, bud.
I like the rocket ship.
It was pretty funny.
I like the jets. Doing the jets, like taking off, like that felt so cool. Yeah, that felt awesome.
Also, we can hold both at the same time.
I can feel it right now. That's how it just left like such an impression. It's just insane.
Yep. And I love the kind of finishing touch there at the end with the tech demo of the T-Rex. Yeah. And starting out in the like really shitty graphics,
son went
and then
crazy for that shit.
Oh, it was so great.
We were having a blast beating that night, man. Oh, it was. I hope I never forget it, man. It was just such an amazing moment, dude. It was awesome.
Let's talk about the rest of the games.
PlayStation's really good at like moments and memories.
Yeah.
Like Sony's really good at that type of stuff.
For sure, definitely.
What else? What did you guys think of the rest of the launch lineup?
I think this is the best launch lineup, period, of any console, period.
I agree.
Yeah. Not that it's a hard, bar to overcome, but Astrobot, Demon Souls, Sackboy, Miles Morales, like that would have been a good year for the opening of PlayStation. We got all of those games on day one. Yeah. There was a kind of something for everyone, as opposed to like just Breath of the Wild or just a game no one will ever remember in T-minus 3 months.
Yeah, there was no Knack, there was no Shadowfall. I mean, Godfall might be that, but we haven't really had enough time with it. But even third-party wise, you're right, it doesn't need that. Whereas the other consoles are like, this is how you can see the cool new 1080p is Shadowfall, I guess. But even
just
Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion, like having these amazing versions of these running on PS5 and Xbox on day one, was just like it's such a strong lineup to have that support there alongside all of these other exclusive Sony titles, which is amazing to see.
It's such a fantastic lineup. Like, if obviously my main hitter was Miles Morales, so having that and then being able to like switch between the remaster of Spider-Man's fun playing that game again, like looks night and day, honestly. Like, I genuinely enjoy that remaster. And you have like Demon Souls I tried out, which is really fun. You have like Bug Snacks. Like, I feel like that's genuinely going to be the reso gun and snipper clips of this launch. I feel like I said, everyone knows the song, but I don't feel like a lot of people are going to actually play it. But I really feel like that's the sleeper hit of this launch. It's genuinely such a fun
hilarious.
game.
Yeah.
I want to play.
It's really funny.
I have it ready to go. I have it downloaded.
Is it
ready to
multiplayer
go.
at all, or is it only like
No,
a single
It's a
player?
Single
single
player.
player adventure game.
If you play it, beat it. It's not an insanely long game, but the main experience you are going to have, like, sure, you can play for 3 hours and you'll talk about how fun it is catching or how cute it is, but the main talking point is playing through that entire game. No spoilers, but just play that game.
You can tell
Play it
from
to
the very
completion.
first scene when you see Lisbeth and her girlfriend talking, you're like, oh, this is going to be much more, like, this is going to have an emotional resonance with me. This is going to be much more
Yeah.
than just catching fucking watermelons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a game I'm not going to forget, honestly. Like, I expected nothing from Bug Snacks. Like, when it was announced, I was like,
Like
all right, it looks
grounding.
whatever, but when it was announced, I was like, oh, the song's cool, whatever. People are freaking out about the song, but it's whatever. I booted up the game because I was bored. I will never forget that experience. That is,
Did you just say
One
you
of
were
the
bored
best-
with Miles, Valhalla?
I beat Miles.
He beat all those games.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. You played through everything. My bad.
No, I was like, it was one of those nights where I was like, I was kind of bored, and I was like, Valhalla is like a commitment as much as obviously Assassin's Creed fan here. Like, as much as like I need to play it, it was like I want something small.
I
Bugsnax
hear that.
isn't that, but I thought it
You
was
didn't
gonna
know
be.
it was, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's definitely like one of the best experiences I've had. This
That's dope.
hyperbole.
That's
I'm
awesome.
not gonna.
Yeah. Obviously, Astro's great. I've been very impressed with Bugsnax so far. Like, the characters and the writing so far been above my expectations for it. Miles, I really liked a lot, but I don't know if this is that's how popular this opinion is. Probably not. But the combat and the open world stuff got a little old for me towards the end of that, and I love.
Jeff, I'm gonna hurt you.
I think you're in the minority there, bruh.
There's
I
just
got your
not
back,
much.
Jeff. Don't worry. I got
There's
your
not
back.
much different
Holden hasn't
from
even played it.
from Spider-Man
Yeah.
2018. And
Dude, what are you talking about? The whole Venom thing, like,
Yeah.
completely shakes up the entire combat.
yeah,
even, like,
I don't know.
I mean,
Even-
most people aren't going to use it, but even Venom while swinging, like, painting tricks and stuff, like, if most people aren't going to do it, but once you do it for the first time, you're probably not going to want to
Well,
stop.
Part
It's
of it
so
is just
fun.
the open world stuff, and I just have some fears for the eventual Spider-Man 2 if they don't change it up. That I don't know. I feel like more people might just start feeling the fatigue for that. Personally,
understand where he's
I
coming
felt the
from.
fatigue
Yeah.
in the first game, so I
Right.
feel you, Jeff.
I
I
do
do
see where
agree
he's
it's going to
coming
be
from.
weird. It's going to be weird seeing, like, okay, how many times can you put in the game? Like,
Yeah, that's part.
I-
It's the same map is part of it.
I don't
There's
mind.
snow. There's snow covering it now. It's completely different.
But I mean,
There's
just to be positive
seasons.
with that. I really like the
seasons.
story. I think I read maybe Matt did the same thing, and I think maybe you, Brent. I teared up at the end as well.
Yeah.
I did not tear up at
that-
the
the
We'll,
ending
we'll
got
do
me.
a spoiler chat maybe next week or something like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't tear up at the very end of it. I teared up in the post-game quests. That's where I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
shit.
I haven't gotten
Like,
to those yet.
Those are great.
Mine bugged. Like, the postcard stuff bugged for me, so I have to redo it. Like, I have to redo it after my New Game Plus run, so I have to complete. I can't 100% the district because it says I have the one in Harlem that I don't, or it says I don't have the one in Harlem, but I can't get it like at all. So I have to redo like all my side quests on the Plus. Kind of annoying because I almost had them all done. I'm okay with doing
Yeah,
that.
let's hope that
Fun
See,
game
I
doesn't
knew
hit
that
you.
game sucked. I knew it was terrible.
Well, you shut your mouth.
All right, let's rate the launch lineup. Rating the launch lineup, 10-point
It's a 10 out
scale,
of
5
10.
stars.
This is the best launch lineup. I don't think there's really any way you could have improved it.
Yeah.
I really
Holden's
don't
got a
think you
5
can.
stars.
5 out of 5 stars for launch lineup. Especially just 2 cents on Demon Souls really quickly. I was consistently blown away by that game. I am blown away at just how incredibly detailed everything is. The least detailed part of it, I'd say, is there's some character models where like the skin texture is not the greatest or something like that. But you're a knight, you're gonna put armor on more likely than not. So you're not even really seeing that. So if you're wearing the suit of armor, that game is like flawless looking. Like especially when you're like the particle effects and how they illuminate areas. It's not ray tracing, but they have their own like special global illumination system they're using. But it's fucking insanely good looking. And I was playing in performance mode, not even the 4K like cinematic mode, and I still was consistently blown away. And the thing that got me so hyped about that is launch games are not the best looking games of a generation. And I'm like, if this is where we're starting,
I know.
Holy shit. Like, where are we going to be going with this once all the cross-gen games come out? Please, God of War 2 or Ragnarok, please don't be cross-gen. Because that game with this level of detail would be absolutely mind-blowing. And it's because I went back and was playing God of War a little bit, and I'm like, this is still a good-looking game. I'm not saying it's not a good-looking game, but I can now just tell when a game is last-gen because of Demon's Souls. A game I thought was so good-looking on PS4, I'm like, I don't like it looks like a last gen game to me now, and I'm not faulting it because the same thing happens with PS3 and PS2, and it happens every generation. Demon's Souls will look old one day too, but for right now in the present, I'm blown away by that. Completely blown away. Much more of a generational leap than I was expecting. Whoever the guy at IGN was who said we won't see a difference with next gen graphics at launch, bullshit. Bullshit. This is a significant step up in my opinion.
Is this the only true PS5 game that this isn't?
Yeah, right now.
Right?
Godfall.
It's
Godfall,
Godfall too,
yeah.
I guess.
Oh, Godfall. Okay.
I think this is the only
It's on
two.
PC as well though.
Right.
But yeah, Godfall does look really good.
Yeah, Miles looks great, but it doesn't look as great as Demon's Souls and the PS5 version of Valhalla, but just Demon's Souls looks incredible. And then back on it, the PS5 version of Valhalla, dude, it looks real. It looks like I'm looking outside my window. Like the wood on Eivor's shield looks fantastic. Like the ray tracing, the lights like reflecting grass. Phenomenal. Play Valhalla. But like it looks so good. And that's a cross-gen game too. That's on the PS4. If that looks that good, and even like I said, I'm going back and forth, but Demon's Souls, true PS5 game, looks incredible. I even thought the face models looked amazing. You're never gonna see them. Like looks fantastic.
They're definitely the best that the Souls franchise has ever seen before. Because faces usually don't move in those games, but they actually are pretty well animated for something that was never an important point of Souls games in the past.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the Bloodborne faces were kind of bad.
Yeah. They're always just super stiff and like, Hunter, don't wander off into the night, like, or something like that.
Is there anyone here that doesn't rate it a 5 out of 5 for games?
Can I just mention one thing? Were we supposed to get Cyberpunk? Was that
December?
Cyberpunk
No, it got
was supposed to
delayed.
come out in
Launch
2
window.
days.
Yeah, I know it got delayed, but was it supposed to be in this launch window? When was it supposed to
It's
come
supposed to
out?
be
It's supposed to be
November
this week.
19th, so it would have been out in 2 days. Well, 2 days from when we're recording right now.
Imagine if
RIP.
that came out too.
Right.
Yeah.
It would have been too
Right.
much,
What a
honestly. It would have been too
crazy
much. I'm
fucking
glad
launch
it got
lineup.
delayed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
give
I
it a
give
five.
it a.
Yeah, I
I
give
give
it
it
a
a
5
5
out of
out
5.
of
5 out of 5 too.
I-
Yeah. All fives.
I wanna say-
for the PS motherfucking 5.
I want to say 4. I want to say 4.5, but like
Brent.
because no, it's 5. I wanted to say 4.5 because I always think things can improve, but honestly, looking at it, it's like there's a game for everybody. It's like,
True.
Yeah, but it's like people are gonna hate Godfall like they hate Avengers. There's an option that doesn't have to be Last of
Yeah.
Gives. There's small sleeper hits like Bug Snacks. There's Astro. There's Miles.
Also-
Demon Souls. Like so many different genres.
Let us not forget the PS Plus collection,
I was gonna say that too.
None of us
which
even
is
touched
an
it, right?
unbelievable collection of games. Like we talk about Game Pass being this unbelievable deal because it is, but if you really get down to it, there's some fluff in Game Pass. They
There's
give you a
a
lot of
lot of
options. But
All the
there's
Microsoft
fluff.
first-party games are fluff.
There is fluff there.
Psychonauts
Game Pass
2 is
is-
going to be Microsoft first
Game
party. I
Pass
can't
is
have
still
this.
better than
the
Game Pass is still better than PS Plus.
The PS Plus collection, there is a solid group of games. Like
It is
super
22
solid.
of the most defining games of that generation. And
Yeah.
they like when you think about that generation of games and what were those like standout masterpieces, almost all of them are on that list.
What are you missing? You're missing Horizon Zero Dawn, and you're missing Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us Part 2.
Right.
Is
The only one I
Bloodborne
can
on
think
there?
of that needs to be on there, like I feel like should be like, I guess Horizon. I didn't know that was on there, but Horizon and Spider-Man, I feel like are the only two that are really missing. But obviously Spider-Man has its remaster. But
Right, they're not gonna
other
put it on there.
other than those two, I feel like those are like defining PS4 games.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
crazy.
a couple fluff, but
And going back and playing some of those games, like I just kind of downloaded a few of them just to kind of see, okay, like how do these games hold up on PS5 now? And I downloaded Fallout 4, and that game had pretty bad
Yes.
loading times. Their loading times they're not instant, but like I don't even
Better.
think about it. I wouldn't even look at my phone like to check anything. Okay, yeah, I'll wait the 5 seconds it's going to take to load this. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Fallout 4 and Skyrim load really fast on the PS5. I was so happy with that.
That'll change once Microsoft gets in. Like, nope, full on the last gen loading times. Better on Xbox. That's what they meant.
True.
All right, I want us to wrap up our conversation tonight by talking about the marketing for PlayStation 5. This includes the console reveal from the Wired article all the way through like launch day stuff, whether it's ads, social media, all of that kind of stuff, and what you thought of it, and we'll eventually, again, score it out of 5 stars.
It kept us on our toes, on the edge of our seat, that's for sure. We waited
Yeah.
and waited and waited to hear about this fucking... And Holden thought it was bad. He said, this is bad news. We're fucked. This is, I'm worried. And then he's like, nah, they're not going to show God of War. They're not going to do it. And they did. And they blew everybody's fucking mind.
Well,
and
they
owes
didn't
me
show
something.
God of
We made, no, well, they announced
told
it.
us
That's-
about it. Yeah.
That's And then that's what I said. They're going to say something. And he's like, nah, they don't need to. I said, they don't need to, but they're gonna, because they're going to put a fucking nail in this Xbox coffin. Just pound that fucking down. It's a wrap. 5 out of 5 PlayStation 5.
2 hours in for the first time I've shot on Xbox. 2 hours in. I expected it the first 30 seconds.
203 on my timer.
I'm trying not to shit on Xbox. Cat said no.
I didn't say no. I want this to be a review of the PlayStation 5. But also, we talked about this last night, actually, on the Xbox Series X review, and that I really did not like PlayStation's complete silence for the first part. I think Xbox started out much, much stronger, announcing the console, showing it off, what it looks like at the Game Awards last year, and then kind of rolling out info about smart delivery thereafter. But where I think the companies kind of cross paths and switch places was
100%.
when obviously everything changed about COVID-19 and the pandemic, and all of their plans had to change from that. And I feel like Microsoft just said, "Oh, we don't know how to adapt to this, so let's not do anything." Whereas PlayStation said, "Okay, we're going to take this as an opportunity. We're going to revamp all that we had to do, and we're just going to have hit after hit after hit." Like when starting with the games reveal, where like it started off with, of course, Grand Theft Auto 5, but then Miles Morales. From that point on, I feel like it was every 2 or 3 weeks there was something amazing or mind-blowing that we were being shown from a game, or we were, especially leading up to launch, we had every week or two there was a new embargo lifted. Like, oh, this week people can talk about the controller. This week people can talk about and show you a level of Astrobot. This week people can talk about the console. This week they can talk about new parts of it. So it was just constantly keeping it in the news, getting you excited about one more thing right after another leading up to launch. And then they stuck the landing because all of it was so fantastic when you finally got it in your hands as well.
Yeah, I think that, like, obviously Sony fanboy, but like I do want to take a step back and be like, okay, at the beginning Microsoft is killing it. Microsoft was coming out being like, why wait? Like, we're dropping these consoles, so here's everything you need to know. Here's smart delivery. I think after a little bit they ran out of things to announce, but I think it was annoying people being like, oh, Sony has better messaging. No, Xbox was out here telling you everything you needed to know, like, almost a year before the consoles were coming out. Like, we knew everything. I still think on launch day, Microsoft is still doing a few things better than Sony. I want Sony to, like, quick resume and, like, the whole, like, some games aren't optimized as good for backwards compatibility, so some games load better on Series X, even though we know the SSD is better than the PS5. Like, some of that stuff bums me out a little bit. So I think Microsoft's taken some W. But Sony definitely came out and was like, all right, Xbox is running out of things to talk about. Well, we haven't talked about anything, so hit, like Chad said, the embargoes. Like, I don't think I love Kind of Funny. I've always watched your stuff, but I don't think I've been so glued to my podcast until like the whole month of like the embargoes getting going to work, sitting on the bus, like listening at the 5 and game stuff like that. Like this whole month leading up to PS5 has been amazing.
It's like a slow
So
drip.
fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's more.
It was annoying, like the first embargo being like, okay, this PS I love you, they can only talk about unboxing it. Like that's a little annoying, but like
But everyone
had
was
to be
Googling
patient.
pictures of that fucking box. When they couldn't show you the console,
Yeah.
they could just show you the box. I looked at 300 different fucking boxes in living rooms that day.
damn.
So yeah, that
But
was
it
good
was just
teasing
good.
by them. I think Sony's kind of been a tease this entire marketing lineup. I feel like they had 3 peaks, which Chad mentioned about kind of the trickle of embargoes at the end. That was very well done. They had the other 2 peaks were just their 2 state of plays that focus on games. Mostly because those were the only good events for gaming throughout the entire summer by a huge margin. And it's not just because they showed, the box or the price. It was because they showed great games that looked fantastic that we were all super excited to play. Everything else I thought was really a letdown in terms of like marketing. I think that if they had not done the April and like November, October Wired articles last year, I don't think that the wait would have bothered me that much. But they started talking about it in April of 2019, and they didn't actually really have their first event until July. And I'm not counting that Road to PS5 event because that was really atrocious. Like I understand people say, oh, that was a GDC event, like it wasn't supposed to be consumer. They knew consumers were going to pay attention to that because it's the first time that we were hearing about the PlayStation 5 in any sort of meaningful way. And I think starting off talking like that was just a huge letdown.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been any
absolutely.
different even without COVID because they would have done that same thing, just at a GDC event with real people and not cardboard cutouts there instead. So like it was cool from a tech standpoint, but like I think for me at least, it gave me this sinking feeling of like, oh no, Microsoft's shown a lot and Sony decided to show almost nothing. So like, what does that say? And obviously it worked out. I was wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong because it ended up having a strong second half. Like Chad said, they switched. But I just think that was a really bad move. If they had waited till July and had that July or June event, had there been their first thing they talked about PS5 and they left us like waiting for anything at all, I think that would have been better to kind of Dallas's point of being on the edge of our seats. I think we all would have been on the edge of our seats even if they hadn't done the Wired articles and they hadn't done the Road to PS5, and they also didn't do that ridiculously funny thing at CES with like, we're going to talk about PlayStation 5. Here's the logo. Moving on. And that's all they did. But they nailed the last half of it, which sealed the deal. And I think they also won too just because they had so much more to show. It's like when you're playing poker with someone and you know you have the royal flush, so you're just going to play that table and let everyone else put bets down because you know that you're going to take it all in the end. I mean, that was what Sony did the whole year. So they did the entire time.
I still disagree. Like, I still think, like, now that we know the console's out now, marketing's done for first batch at least, I still disagree. I still like that Road to PS5 event. I still hold my own and think that, like, no, it doesn't matter if they did it. They were going to sell out anyway. I think it was still, like, I get being a little disappointed, but I thought it was cool. Because, like, you have all the information, you have the tech YouTubers being able to, like, talk about that and be like, okay, we know nothing about the console. We know the specs. So now we can like start to speculate. Like, I liked knowing that information. I knew. I really liked knowing that idea of, okay, he talked about like the jacks having to load some tests. We can envision like how they're gonna make. And I still think it was like, okay, people are getting upset about it, but it's not gonna matter come day one. Like, they're gonna. It's PlayStation. People are gonna buy it, and I still kind of hold to it. I still don't really mind that was the first beat of like. I get what you're saying. I still just don't mind it was that first beat of information.
And to support you there for a second, too, I think things would have been different without COVID, because apparently the Unreal Engine 5 was supposed to be shown at GDC at the same time, not necessarily in that event. And I wonder if they would have been showing footage of that while talking about the SSD and while talking about, and that would have made a much bigger impression as opposed to Mark Cerny being like, well, the SSD is going to run with the, Kraken decompression algorithms. So yeah, I think that if they had that, it would have been stronger.
Even when the Unreal Engine thing got announced, I saw people talking about that for like 3 days, and then no one ever really brought it up again.
I watched it yesterday.
Touche.
But I'm a dork, so like that's why I watched it.
I don't even think I watched the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
I watched
it on the toilet multiple times.
And I don't even know anything
I was
about
just
that
looking
shit.
to do something while I was pooping. That's it. I think the last thing I'll mention for my part about how successful the marketing is that before, like when I was buying my PS5, I knew exactly why I was buying it. It was going to have awesome new 3D audio. It was going to have this blazing fast SSD that's going to be able to enable new experiences. I knew that it was going to have some crazy ass haptics from developers talking about it in blogs to like some like proof of concept type commercials that they were putting out there. And then, of course, I knew that there were going to be games and experiences I could only have on PS5. So I knew exactly why I needed this console. So I think it was really successful there. And then again, I don't want to try to compare it to Xbox, but it's hard to, like, when you look at the Xbox Series X, it's just like, it's not as clear. And you're looking, like, do I want the X?
Well,
do I want the S? Why do I need either of them? It's
Right, that's true.
There's so many points when we were recording episodes.
It really messes everything up. Like, what would I really want? Do I want to go cheaper? But what am I missing out on? Yeah, it makes sense now that kind of muddying up the waters, adding 2 consoles to it. Who the hell knows? It's a good point.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Chad, like I do think like you can probably have like a million articles being like, oh, but should you buy the PS5? Should you buy the Series X? And I don't really like console reviews and scores and stuff anyway, because it's just like, okay, whatever. I don't think any console is really going to be revolutionary besides a Switch. Like they're all just going to be upgrades. So it's like just tell people what it has and then just deal with it. But I think on launch day, it's like what you're getting. You know why you're buying the console. Like what Chad was saying. It's like everything about the console, what you want. If you don't want any of this stuff, stick with the PS4. But like there's nothing in my mind that's like, oh, well, PS4 does this better. Or like I prefer my PS4. Like with Xbox, it's like I don't mind them too much. Kind of like they don't like. I still like Xbox, but it still feels like a 1.5. Whereas with PlayStation 5, it does feel like I know what I'm doing here. Like I know why I want them. Right. It does so much things better and adds a new thing.
The Series X is like Apple having an S year with the iPhone, where it's like, those are some nice upgrades, but like, when's the 7 coming out? When's the 8? I want the full number upgrade, and it didn't. It was that like S.
No, you said something the other day. I think Holden, you were talking about like the Series X is kind of like the iPhone S, and like it was like the 10 and 8. You said it was.
I said the iPhone 10 is the PS5, and the iPhone 8, which was released the same year, is the Xbox Series X. The Series X is kind of what you're used to, what you're familiar with. It's got the home button still, has the same kind of familiar interface, but the 10, it's got most of the same features, but it's also got Face ID and the all edge-to-edge sexy display, and like it just feels more next gen. The iPhone 10.
Yeah.
But the 8's still a great phone. It's still a great phone, the iPhone 8. Like, you're not going to be upset if you get an iPhone 8.
I think that Xbox gets bumped up so much more if Halo launched and was super successful. If Halo was great and launched with the Xbox Series X, I think we talk about the Series X in a totally different light.
Because it would have something to showcase it. I mean, like,
something to play on it.
And then that's got to be the thing too. Like that's a cross-gen game that's going to be playable on a regular VCR Xbox One. Is it going to be enough to showcase the Series X?
No, you're right. I mean, Halo needs to wow when it comes out, but it also needed to wow
come out.
At launch.
Yeah,
it needed to be. It's lesser now, I think.
In order for Series X's launch lineup to compete with PlayStation 5's, it would have had to have Halo Infinite, Forza Motorsport 8, like a new game from Obsidian.
It seems
they would have had to have a
strange.
few games there.
It seems so strange they didn't have Forza ready to go.
Yeah.
That is such a great tech demo for good graphics, racing games. Like, that shit looks awesome all the time on new consoles.
I was convinced it was going to release. Actually, that was one of my predictions for the years. I was convinced it was going to release because, like you said, it's a good tech demo, but also they didn't release Forza last year.
Yeah.
And it's been a yearly game for the entire Xbox One life cycle.
Motorsports Horizons.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It seems weird. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I don't
They
know.
mentioned it. I think they mentioned there's one coming. But it's
right. I don't think
but it's
going to
be Xbox One as well. It's not even a Series X exclusive. Like,
so strange.
And this
Very
comes back
strange.
to you guys discussing should they delay the Series X? Maybe they should have.
I mean, I think it still sucks that like Xbox has new games, but like I think they're fine. I think it's like Sony's gonna dominate the launch shop because of all the shiny new games, features it has. But Xbox did its thing, it came out, it's fine. Like it's not gonna have a lot of talk around it. It came out, it did its thing, it's fine now. Now they can work on supporting the console more and bringing out new games. It just doesn't have that shiny or
But
like
then-
you need to buy this.
Yeah, but then think about this too. Like, Sony is just going to dogpile on Microsoft. Like, when Guerrilla gets geared up and starts putting out new stuff, when Insomniac puts out Ratchet and Clank, when, you know what I mean? Like, when Sony Santa Monica releases Ragnarok, like, all these great first
like
party
the PS4, like the whole
like
just
when
that whole
all
last
those,
gen.
when all those games start gearing up and start putting out sequels and new IP, it's really gonna dogpile on something that got a slow start and has a very slow next, like, probably 6 months.
Well,
Right.
Yeah.
optimistically, it looks like Microsoft's going to have Halo Infinite and Forza Motorsport next year, which means in that time, like you were kind of saying there, Matt, they're going to have Ratchet and Clank, Demon's Souls, Sackboy, Astrobot, Horizon Forbidden West. They're going to have God of War
All-Star,
Ragnarok,
Destruction Derby,
Destruction All-Stars.
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 Oh, okay, you can't use that as the plus for Sony. I'm sorry.
I know. I think you're wrong, Jeff.
It's an exclusive game,
good-
though. It's
It's
exclusive
gonna be
game.
free to play on PS
It's an
Plus.
exclusive next-gen game. So
And then Gran
have-
Turismo. That's eight games in
Gran
1
Turismo
year
is gonna
exclusive to their system. And Microsoft has 2, and Halo Infinite's not necessarily looking
It's up in
promising.
the air.
right.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
trying
think
to think. I mean, they might have more. They have games announced. Obviously, not as much as Sony. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I say it partly as a joke. Psychonauts 2 is something, not big, but you name Sackboy and stuff. I think it's fair to bring that one.
No,
Yeah,
that's
like a
It won't be
fair, yeah.
exclusive per se because
it's like
of the
a
whole
Valve
thing.
and stuff too.
I'm gonna say something.
I'm gonna
that-
count
They have a
PC
lot
is still
of studios.
exclusive to them.
They have a lot of
I'm saying
studios.
Psychonauts coming on
Hopefully-
PS4 as well because they announced it
yeah, that
before
doesn't
the
count then.
thing. So
Yeah.
it's
Hopefully
still
the
their
forgot
game.
about
studios
that.
pan out and they make these banger games that you have to buy an Xbox
Yeah.
to experience.
They
That's
have
what I'm
to-
hoping
Or just
for.
Bethesda. Like they have Bethesda.
I was gonna
when
say-
was the last time Bethesda
Brent.
put out a good game? Like, let's be honest.
Okay, you know you're buying
Amen.
Elder
Doom
Scrolls.
Eternal,
I'm
man.
gonna buy it, but
Doom Eternal, best
Some-
shooter of all time.
Yeah, but they didn't. That
and
was- they
Wolfenstein
just,
as well. Wolfenstein is a tremendous shooter. Here's an
yeah, but
unpopular
those aren't games they
opinion.
made, right? Those are just they were just.
Those are their games.
Yeah, but Bethesda owns
it's
it.
not
They
Bethesda
do,
Game
but-
Studios. But it is Bethesda.
Right.
Unpopular opinion.
the studio.
Xbox, Microsoft needs to make Bethesda games exclusive to Xbox.
They have to.
I-
Yeah,
They
I
have
agree.
to. They have to. You have to make a
do it.
reason why
Don't
people
do
to go to Xbox. They have to
Don't
do
do
it.
it, Microsoft.
It's an unpopular opinion. They have to do it.
Here's the thing.
I want to piggyback off of Matt, like to further this. I have some dude I work with. He's a major guy. And I was telling him I got the PS5 and he's like, oh, it looks cool, but I think I'm gonna get Series X because I'm a huge Bethesda fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say what you will, that's going to drive the Xbox.
That's
Xbox
insane.
needs these needs Bethesda games. Elder Scrolls 6 needs to launch on Xbox.
And if anything, if a PlayStation user's like, man, I really want to play Elder Scrolls 6, they don't have to buy a Series X. They can stream on an xCloud if they're that desperate to play with this. And I feel like that is the kind of so-and-so trap that Microsoft's going to set to get you to give them money. They don't need to put it on PlayStation, but it's sounding more and more like they're open to it coming to PlayStation as well. But that's because the executives have said a lot of mixed messaging and things that don't
Yes.
align up. And
Yeah,
so
it's
we
very
don't
mixed.
really
So that-
know.
I
Yeah,
think
so
it's
that
reporters
PS5
asking them
marketing-
questions they don't know the answer.
This is a great conversation, guys. But we're in a PS5 review discussion. That
Yeah,
PS5 marketing. Let's bring it back.
Can
We're
I
gonna-
get into the marketing?
we're gonna
I got
rate
some
it.
stuff to say.
All right, Jeff.
I honestly think the PS5 marketing has not been the best as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about these game shows where they had some bangers and stuff, but even then, if you think back to those shows, they had some weird message that wasn't clear. Like, even stuff with backwards compatibility from both sides, Microsoft and Sony, that whole thing's a mess. It's still confusing. They need to get it together. And
Is Demon's Souls coming to PC?
I disagree.
And
That's one of them.
And when you talk about the games, and like when they showed off Deathloop and Ghostwire, they didn't say those were exclusives. We had to get it from tweets and blog posts and stuff. Like, I know those aren't bad things that happen, and those being exclusive are good for them, but them not from a marketing standpoint, that's not good. And just kind of with Miles Morales and Horizon showing them off as they are PS5 exclusive at first, and then backtracking again in blog posts and Jeff Keighley, like,
right. When they end an event telling you the price, and Jeff Keighley has to tell you where and how to pre-order it on Twitter.
Yes.
And that Demon's Souls is a launch game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even while it obviously worked out, and I think it was going to work out no matter what, because they've had the games. That's obviously fair. But if you kind of look at the marketing, and there are other examples I'm trouble thinking about, but Darby and I have been railing on Sony. There's a lot there to criticize with it. The way it's not perfect.
I can't tell if you're thinking or if you froze.
He's running off a PlayStation 4 right now. He'll load in. It'll be fine.
I mean, I kind of disagree. I get there are definitely some things they screwed up on. Like
Jeff is back really quickly. Is there a final thought you want to get in, Jeff? Because you got kind of cut out.
Not really. That's generally what I had to say.
Okay, just want to make sure. Sorry, go ahead, Brent.
I think there's things they screwed up on. Definitely, like the pre-order thing. Like, as much as I don't think it was a disaster because new tech's gonna sell out, I do think the announcement
for me.
the announcement
so we're fine.
The announcement of it, I think, screwed up a little bit, but I think the whole thing of like games are leading off of tweets and blog posts, it's like, yeah, I guess you could say that, but at the same time, it's like most people aren't gonna watch that reveal event anyways, and the same people that are probably gonna scroll through Twitter and like see that announcement. Like, I get it. It's like it should be on the like splash screen, but it's like sometimes either they don't know or it wasn't prepared. Trailer was made like 6 months in advance. So like, I think for most people, they're gonna scroll through Twitter and find that anyway. It's just us enthusiasts that are watching that thing live, being like, okay, what's up with Death? Scroll through 30 minutes later. Oh, it's a PlayStation exclusive. Okay, cool. I don't think those are things that really like detract from marketing. Like, I don't a lot of those points like screw up marketing in any way. I agree, like I said, there's certain things, but I think in the whole, I don't think they screw up their message at all. I think they told you what you needed to know, and then maybe like here and there clarified a couple things. I think the Miles Morales thing, definitely, like, there's too many like mix up being like, oh, it's standalone to DLC, it's going to this.
Yeah.
That they
I thought that was all speculation. A lot of people, like marketing, they should have told us straight up. But I saw a lot of speculating. People like, oh, it's only, it's like a DLC size game. Well, they're like, no, it's not. But then someone in the studio also said, yeah, it's smaller. So people speculated.
Insomniac themselves were saying some pretty confusing
some executive.
things.
Right.
Yeah, there's some Sony execs saying it, and then Insomniac said, hey, guys, whatever they're saying is wrong.
Right. So that's, if that's considered marketing, it was a bit confusing for sure. But it wasn't official marketing. It was just somebody tweeting out some stupid shit. And that's what you get in this technology age.
Yeah.
That's what you get with COVID going on. Like, it was definitely a strange time to be marketing and going through all this release stuff. So
I would count tweets of like from official things as marketing, especially at this point in time.
Yeah.
So even like with we having to find all this stuff later and stuff, a lot of the people, like, Brent was saying, people who may scroll through Twitter. Potentially, a lot of the people that aren't us, who are completely glued into stuff, may not see those because same people who are glued into watching those conferences are following people like Jeff Keighley. They might see a retweet from someone, but that's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think one of the big... So I think one of the big kind of confusing messaging that we kind of had revealed to us over the course of a few months is, we believe in generations and we believe in like making games for and then it's like, well, what we meant by that is, we can have a cross-gen game, but it has to take advantage of the features on the PS5. It's like, well, that's kind of not how everyone interpreted that when you said that. And ultimately, I think people still love Miles Morales, so it's like not a huge problem. But now it's like, is God of War going to be like this? Is Ragnarok going to be like this? Is what is Naughty Dog's next game gonna be PS5 exclusive? Are we gonna have that be cross-gen too? And like, we shouldn't be asking these questions.
Yeah, I think that was them being like, hey, let's dog on Xbox, and then later on they're like, we still have money to make for PS4. Let's just kind of like silently tell people that these are gonna be on PS4.
Well, it's funny that Xbox did the opposite, where they're like, no, we don't really believe in generation. We're going to have things on everything, while they have more next-gen exclusive.
Yeah. It's
also
kind of
just
going back
kinda
to
like,
Apple analogies, where like Apple took away the headphone port, and then Samsung's like, no, we believe in the headphone port. The next year they got rid of the headphone jack. Like,
true.
All right, Jeff, I want your rating first, since you seem to be the most kind of iffy on the marketing.
I'll give it a 3 out of 5, just because I think there were some washes over there, just some irritation from the hardcore fans, and not some great messaging going on. But as you guys are saying, like, and I agree with this 100%. It really doesn't matter, especially at the launch, because people who are buying it at launch, like us, don't give a shit about all that stuff in the long run, because they have the games.
And then don't give a shit because you can't get one.
Yeah.
True.
Brent,
Just
since
like-
you seem to
just
be
like
the
the
opposite of
Xbox.
Jeff on most points, what's your score?
I'd say 4. Like, I agree with Jeff on some things. It can be better, but I think for the most part, they did their thing. We needed to know 3 things, like games, launch date, and price, and we knew all those things before going in. All the added things, like there's some things they screwed up, but like everything else, fine. It did what it needed to do. It's good. In my opinion, I don't think they could have done it too much better.
Holden, what's your score?
I was gonna say 3, but some of the points that Jeff was bringing up, I'm gonna go 2.5. Actually, I think they were really iffy throughout the entire time. They spent too much time teasing, and the main highlights were just 2 events, which I think Jeff made some good points of how those events weren't really. We can look back at them in rose-colored glasses, but there were problems with those events, and that was one of the 2 peaks, or that was 2 of the 3 peaks, and the kind of last thing at the end was the trickle of embargoes. But like even Microsoft had that; they just had less to show.
Dallas,
So I'll say
what you got?
2.5 out of 5.
I'm for the sake of it, I'm going to stick with a
5 out of 5 for PS5.
Yeah. So I'll
respect
always remember that event
There's
we all
nothing they
watched
could
together.
improve on.
Yeah.
There's nothing they could have improved on.
No, so to Brent's point, I knew everything I needed to know. It was
Okay.
clear marketing to me. I knew the haptics and the adaptive triggers were something that was going to probably blow my mind. I knew I had to experience the speed of this SSD. That was going to blow my mind. And I knew I was going to get a fucking badass game in Miles Morales. So like I was sold. Like if marketing is to get me to buy your product, they fucking did it. 10 out of 10. 5 out of 5. So
All right. Matt.
I give it a 3 out of 5. I wish that the pre-order language was a little better, and by a little better, I mean 100,000 million % better. And also, I wish that like the being able to order one straight from Sony worked. I never got an email.
Nope, me neither.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that sucks. Like, thank God I was out getting ice cream with Lindy, and we didn't have cash, so we couldn't pay at the place. So when I got the GameStop notification, I like sprinted out of there. Like we didn't have to wait in line anymore, and got one. Because if I had just like rested on the fact that Sony was going to send me an email because I am a dedicated Sony fan, and they were going to send me a pre-order, I wouldn't have got it. I still wouldn't have.
you.
Yeah, totally ghosted me, which sucks. Like that totally sucks. And like it felt like a very iffy scenario anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I just like that bothered me about it. So I give it a 3 out of 5. I like the teasing a little bit. I wish we had seen the console sooner, but like Dallas said, like I'll never forget that, like watching that thing because we weren't sure, but we
Yeah.
were kind of sure we were gonna see it, and then you know what I mean, like so that was cool.
That screenshot we got was like that goes down in the ages.
yeah.
That's not marketing what you want as a marketer. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You want somebody to say something-
You want Dallas's reaction to that.
So yeah.
I was gonna give it a 4.5, just because I thought everything was amazing about it, and then I was gonna dock it for just being silent for so long. And then Jeff brought up a bunch of good points, and I'm gonna bring it down to a 4. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 for marketing. Taking, again, this is not scientific or mathematic or anything like that, but taking all the scores that we've given it for everything so far and averaging them up together, it rounds up to a 4.5 out of 5 for our PlayStation 5 as our
And thanks to
final
me.
review score
I
for
saved
it.
it.
You saved it, Dallas. You single-handedly saved Jazz and
Yeah, it's a little bit of a
PS5.
cop out.
Dallas, you saved Sony.
All right, thank everyone for joining us today. Holden, you can find him at the same spots every single week here at Respawn Aim Fire. And
Also, the
Dallas,
Times Square, where I'm the statue. I'm also there as well.
that's right, Times Square statue. That's right, totally forgot
I
about
do
that.
that
Thank you. Always wearing a mask still in Times Square. Dallas, you can see his handiwork on our backgrounds going forward on our regular episodes with his screenshots. You can follow him on Twitter. He posts some pretty dope stuff there. D Smitty Games. Matt Vieira, thank you for joining us from Mr. Rhode Island himself.
Thank you for having me. Nice sweatshirt.
Thank you. It's from Providence, Rhode Island. You guys gave it to me. Go follow him on Average Nobody's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Go record in Vaulted Podcast. It's also a pretty cool, dope space with cool opportunity if you're on the East Coast.
Anytime, hit me up. I at Average Nobody's or Matt from RI on Twitter.
Check out Jeff and the Nerds at Large.
We are
He and
from
Darby have a really
large
cool-
South Carolina.
They have a really dope podcast. They've done some really cool stuff. We have a whole Game of Thrones season 8 spoiler cast for every single episode that we did with them. What is that? 7 years ago now.
Wah, wah.
Just watch the
that's fun.
finale
Hear our
one.
excitement. Yeah, you can hear
Just-
our
yeah, you can
excitement,
just-
and then like it starts to fall downhill.
5 out
And then
of 5.
finally, thank you, Brent, for joining us from Uncultured Opinions Podcast, free-to-play podcast. Go check them out. Pretty fun, dope stuff. Everyone, this has gone so much longer than I thought it was going to, but it's been a really
Sorry,
fun
Chad.
discussion.
Yeah, it was great.
Hours.
This is great.
It was great.
yeah.
Catch us back on our normal episode on Sunday, twitch.tv/AffableIdiots. Look forward to spoiler cast for launch games coming up in the next week and a half to 2 weeks as well.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, that's badass. Bye, everybody.